Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Spawncast episode 315. Got a lot to go over tonight, which actually includes a lot of games that came out or got DLC updates, demos, the works. So a lot to get to tonight. So I'm just going to go around and start introducing people. We have our guest tonight, Celia, returning once again. She's been here a couple times. People like when you're on. They request you to come back. So thanks for coming back tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You I think we'll have some stuff to say during the Indie World presentation as we go through that. So, but we got like I said, a bunch of random stuff we can go over. So it'll be good to get your input on quite a bit of it. Let's see, we got MVG here.
Hello. It's great to be here.
Good to have Modern Vintage Gamer with us tonight. We got Max, Dreamcast guy.
Gaming.
Yeah, Max. Jordan back again.
You know, the streak continues. We are here once again. Who would have thought? Will I talk? Will I not talk? That is the real question tonight.
We'll see. We got OJ, Players is holding up the pre-show.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. It's getting hot where I live.
Oh, yeah. It's getting warm here, too. So
it's like 85 today.
Yeah. Not that hot here yet. Not that hot.
Yeah. So, but no, it's good. It's good to be on.
Got Josie. Josie back with us tonight.
Josie, I got a question.
You're muted, Josie.
There she is. Okay.
Do you know how to play basketball? My chat wanted to know if you know how to play basketball.
I do.
I knew it.
I like Fireball, that like little game.
Okay. No, like actual like basketball.
Well, yes, I do, but I'm just saying Fireball is a very good.
Okay, because we're trying to put together a 3-on-3, so we wanted to know if you can play basketball or not.
Okay.
So we know that you can play. So too many games, maybe one of these days we'll have a 3-on-3 ready.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
Yeah,
we'll be there.
There you go. We got RGT. Hello. To have RGT here, and then we got Evan.
Yep.
Back with us. All right. You want to start with a Discord question, Evan?
Do you think Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster Physical will be available for cheaper one way or the other, or will the current price kind of be what it is for a while?
I mean, it's going to be where it is, and it'll probably go up later. It'll probably be one of those things that people look for down the road.
Have you seen the prices?
No, what are they now?
If the special edition one, like the big,
well, no, even collector's edition going on right now.
There's a whole big thing actually with it. Even with the standard edition, there's the one that came from Square Enix that's ESRB rated, and that was a one print only thing. And then there's the Play Asia version, which has a different rating system on it, and they're not making any more of the NTSC.
Check mine real quick.
Those are even going up in price because like
so the Square Enix one is worth more, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I got the Square Enix store one. That's the one that I got.
It should say eat a teen on it. Yeah. That's the one I have too.
That's the one.
Yours is invisible, Dreamcast guy.
What does that mean, Sean?
It means that it's worth more because they're only doing one print run of that. The only other way you could get it physically is through like Play Asia, and it's the import version of it.
Hell yeah.
Is it the Japanese? Is it the Zero, whatever, like Japanese rated one? Yeah, like for some reason, Switch games, European and like other versions are not worth as much as ESRB. I don't know why that is, but it seems like that's the case for like a lot of games, you know?
Wow, people are bidding these things up pretty aggressively.
How much
I told you?
Just like the Pixel Remaster, if you just have the regular Switch cartridge, like the collection that's sealed, people are bidding this thing up to $200.
Holy shit!
The one that Max just had's 500 on there. What is?
Yeah, I looked. So originally, I forgot if I pre-ordered it or not. So I actually started checking eBay the day before my copy came in, and I saw it's $500, and then it came in the mail. I was like, oh, thank God.
Want to shout out Bad Gamer Zero for becoming a member there. Thank you, Bad Gamer. Yeah, so I guess Pixel Remaster. If you got it, hey, put up on that shelf. Don't open it like I did.
I didn't open mine, man. I got a review code for it too.
There's a video of me doing it. There's nothing in it. It's just the cartridge. There's no reverse cover art. No nothing. Nothing's in there.
Water.
Yeah, here's the water. Get it graded.
Yep. May as well get in front of it now.
There you go. You have another question for 7?
Had anyone ever gotten into Guitar Hero or Rock Band, and if so, what did you play?
I feel like a lot of people got into it one way or the other if they had friends that they could go to and do rock. Like Rock Band is the one I remember very fondly.
Yeah.
We had Rock
I was
Band
huge into
time.
Guitar Hero on the Wii.
Guitar on the Wii. That was
played
good too.
I never played Rock Band. I just did Guitar Hero.
Rock Band was
Yeah, me
only
too.
around if I had like a friend who had like a larger family where there's like brothers and sisters. Like they had the whole setup for Rock Band. They had every instrument. I would just get Guitar Hero with the guitar. that was it.
Rock Band was good until people realized that the singer didn't actually have to say any words. They just had to match the pitch. So people just ended up screaming into it constantly.
We wouldn't even use the singer. We would just use the drums. I would play
we do the whole thing. We had the whole thing going.
Yeah, we didn't
have
do
the drums.
Yeah,
it was
we just used the guitar. I just played it when I was in college. My friend had it. We did play like Rock Band Beatles a lot. We played that a ton. It was really good.
We did it a lot. We would get drunk and we'd treat it like karaoke night. We'd all go over there and play it and force people to play different instruments. And I would do the thing he was talking about where I would just scream the notes once I realized I didn't have to know the words. If I didn't know the song, I'd just be like, oh.
Man, that shit died hard though, bro. Like,
yeah.
It was
Guitar
gone.
Hero is still in a bunch of arcades because the Disney ones still have it everywhere. And there's a bunch of kids that do it all the time. It's funny. But yeah.
Good series.
Let's actually start with a game. All right, so we got a bunch of topics. We got stuff in the gaming space to talk about. I also just want to talk about some video games first. So, MVG, you played Advance Wars. Who else played Advance Wars? Anyone?
I didn't.
Okay. OJ played it. Sean, you said you didn't.
John, I heard your copy wasn't coming till next week.
Yeah, I trusted Amazon. It was a mistake. Don't trust Amazon.
That's what I did.
The release day shipping. It's all a lie. It's coming
They got
Wednesday.
really bad at that. They used to be like
They used to be
perfect with
good.
it. And now they're always like, yeah, it's coming 3 to 5 days late. It's like
They used to be so good they'd send it to us early. Like day
Yeah,
early.
I don't know what happened to Amazon, man. Something
I don't
happened.
know.
People still buy on there a lot, but they don't expect it the day of anymore.
Unfortunate because I wanted to play it just in handheld mode while I was hanging out doing other stuff, but I gotta wait till next week. All right, hit me with it. How good is this game?
I think it's fantastic. I think the game is a really, really good reimagining remake of the original GBA games, which I think are some of the best Game Boy Advance games going around. It's definitely in the top 10 for me. I love it. There's some really cool things that they've done this time around. That there's some really like nice little touches. Like one thing that was really very apparent at the beginning was when you actually start, you boot up the game for the first time. There's all these intro moves and stuff. The intro movies have HD rumble. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so when certain thing happens, you can feel the HD rumble, and that was like such a really cool touch. And there's all these like small little things that they've added into the game, but they haven't taken away from the core, game mechanics and the formula. I love the toy soldier kind of aesthetic about the game as well. I was initially not sold on it when they first announced the game, going back like almost 2 years ago now or something. But I can see how the art style really fits this game. John, when you get it, you're gonna love it. It's Advance Wars, man. It's so much fun to play. I started playing the first couple of missions, and I've been playing it all freaking day. Like it's really good. So I'm almost through the first game, and obviously you can jump into the second one as well at that point. But no, it's fantastic. I recommend it, especially if you like strategy games, or if you like Advance Wars or the Advance Wars series. Definitely worth checking out.
Okay. I would. That's, you mentioned the art style and the graphical change. That's the thing I was concerned about, because the Game Boy Advance generation still leaves a lot to the imagination with some of those games, and you see the tank is the size of the bridge, and I was a little concerned how that would translate over. But from the previews I've seen, it looked good in some of the shots. But you say it looks great on the Switch. Okay.
And good. There is a Digital Foundry kind of tech analysis of this game, and it does drop frames here and there. But here's the thing: like, if there was ever a game that it doesn't really matter if it drops a couple of frames here, it's Advance Wars, because you literally can't even notice anything when it happens. But and I don't think the performance takes away from the game at all.
Like strategy RPGs, yeah,
exactly.
I don't even notice as much.
The music is fantastic. The gameplay is absolutely on point. They haven't done anything to kind of mess up the imagining of the original game in any way. They've just done such a great job of this one, and I'm finally glad it's here, because we was expecting this game to come out like a year ago, right? So I'm glad it's here, and I definitely recommend anyone that's on the fence, check out Advance Wars. It's a good game. Hashtag not sponsored. I bought $50.
Apparently the slips that come with it for Nintendo Rewards were expired for the US.
Yeah, I haven't tried mine yet, but yeah.
Because they've held the game for a year. So the slips inside are expired because they expire after a year. So I don't know if they're going to email codes out if people care that much about it, but it's a funny thing that people realized after they open it.
Yeah.
But OJ, did you get a chance to play it?
Yeah, I did. I did get a chance to play #free game, but I bought a copy as well. It's coming. Amazon's lame. The cool thing about Advance Wars, because I always liked Fire Emblem more than Advance Wars. I've always felt that way. Advance Wars always seemed like it got like pushed aside. So it was really cool that it came back in this type of way. They didn't want to make something new and mess it up. So they just go back to the well and get something that, like, you know, because these games are like 20 years old, right? Like these games are old at this point. So I think that was a good idea to just bring the really good games back. And if this does well, maybe we see, you know, the DS game, or maybe there's something new. So that's what I liked about it, that they went back and got from like the two really good games, because you get two good remakes all packaged in one. You know, it would have been nice though if it was a bit like, you know, MVG said like the frame rate, it doesn't really matter, but if it was like 60, that would have been nice, you know, to actually have it a bit smoother. But it feels great to play. It almost feels sometimes like Kirby's like 30, but there was no problem that I had, like, you know, with inputs or anything like that. It didn't feel like jank or anything. So but it would have been nice. But outside of that, man, I've been having a blast. I like the games back in the day, and they're just as fun right now. It's really good, like pick up and play. Like you can get missions done in a pretty good amount of time. Haven't been able to dabble with the like online play, but I want to get into that like at some point, because I think it'd be pretty fun to play against like MVG or with other people. So
whenever you guys get the game, I'd like to maybe jump online and try it.
Because it's pretty cool.
One other thing, John, this has a reversible cover.
Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay.
The reversible cover is actually really cool too.
Pull it out and hold it up. That actually looks badass.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Interesting. Interesting.
Let me grab it out.
Yeah.
It's a very, very cool reversible cover there.
That looks pretty awesome. All right.
Yeah, it's a good little package. I recommend it.
Okay.
Like Advance Wars. Check it out.
Okay.
Yeah, you get two games for the people in the chat that maybe don't know about. You get both of the games. So it's two of the GBA games packaged, both remade, packaged into one. So it is two games in one. So some people are saying, oh, the price, I get that too, like, you know, $60. It would have been nice if it was like 40. You see stuff like Crash Bandicoot, other games that have came out. But I mean, for this type of game, you know, this many years old, I mean, decades at this point, Advance Wars has been dead. I mean, I really hope it does well, which I don't think they're okay.
Yeah, I think they also have it at that price. They're like, it's probably not going to sell millions and millions of copies, is what in their mind is probably a Well. So it's I'm curious that this is WayForward, right? Who did this? Yep. Nintendo partnered with them. Would you like to see WayForward do an original Advance Wars?
Oh, I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah?
I mean, I think they got the chops for it. I mean, WayForward obviously does original games as well as, you know, they take on remaster remake type work. So yeah, I mean, I'd love for them to do that. That'd be awesome.
Okay. Yeah, I will
Advance Wars game.
I will check it out next Wednesday. Hopefully it's not like, I don't think Nate ever had his Animal Crossing delivered to him. So hopefully it's not like
I want to say like portable mode on the OLED, it looks super clean.
Like I love it. That's how I'm playing the game right now. Yeah.
It feels like back in the day. Like
I feel like we say that about a lot of these games on the OLED screen now, to the point where Nintendo, they just have to stick with OLED. It's over. They just can't go back to LCD now, because all these games do look a lot better on that OLED now.
I actually played it on my regular Switch, because I have the digital, so I put it on multiple ones, and like the OLED makes, with this simplistic art style and like how vibrant it is, it's just better, you know, for like on an OLED. Or if you got an OLED TV, the resolution's good on the TV, you know. So
it's hey, good to see Advance Wars after a year. It's still good. But as Celia mentioned, it's had a rough time just coming out.
Yikes! Leaking
no,
DM.
So I didn't know whether to bring it up or not, but the marketing for it, I pay attention to this, is really cursed. I'm so happy that it came out. Like originally, it came out on September 10th, 2001. Yep. And the marketing, you know, because there's wars in the title, got tanked because of obvious reasons. And then the Ukrainian war happened. And so it just...
Yeah, Advance Wars has had a rough time technically.
So I'm glad it's getting the support, and I think you guys definitely have convinced me to play it, because you compared it to Fire Emblem, and I'm like, I love Fire Emblem.
You will love this game. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. You would really enjoy this game.
I think it's gonna be a handheld game for me. I think that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, that's what it is for me. It's just a handheld game.
We need to stop releasing these games, because there keeps being massive wars every time they release.
I know.
Seems to be the case. I don't know what the deal is with Advance Wars, but
so that's That's unbelievable. Like it's like one in a bazillion.
Do you want to shout out Bead Queen, coming a member?
Yo, Bead
Queen. That's a Bead Queen.
Let's go.
Shout out. Okay, Sean, how about you tell us about Street Fighter 6? Thank you. Street Fighter 6 had the demo release. It dropped after the showcase that they did. And I know, Sean, you downloaded it, Max. I downloaded, checked it out. I actually had a chance to play a bit today. So why don't we talk a bit about this? This is like the World Tour mode that they showed during that showcase presentation. And it was Yakuza Light is how I kind of described it when I was looking at it. But what did you guys think about the custom character build and what appears to be like the first 15 or 20 minutes of World Tour mode, if that?
I thought it was fine. It was just kind of whatever for me. I don't really care for story modes and fighting games. Don't really interest me all that much. But I dabbled in it. It was fine. I didn't like how it was 30 frames per second by default. I thought that was really wonky because as I'm like fighting, I'm like, why does this?
Yeah, what kind of fighting game has a performance? What is that?
Yeah, like there shouldn't be like a quality and performance mode.
I thought there was something wrong for a minute. I started it up and it went to it. I was like, whoa, what is going on? Hold on. It's like you're underwater with that.
Yeah.
Very weird.
And I liked, when I played, I don't know. I didn't play Street Fighter 5. I've never played Street Fighter 5 because I just had a very bad impression from when it first came out. I don't know when this modern control scheme came into play, but it needs to fuck off because
which one's the control? Are you talking about the one where you can kind of pre-input things, or
the one for when you're like a child, like the toddler mode?
So the pseudo inputs, that was Street Fighter 4.
Well, so what it does, the modern input is instead of having high, medium, and low attack, you have strong. It's like strong attack, fast attack, and then special attacks. You can just like have a Hadoken button.
Yeah, that takes away from the game. In my opinion.
The hotkey button.
Well, they have they have like the auto combo too. So you hold down R2 and you can just start hitting square or X or cross, and you'll just start comboing over and over and over.
I mean,
again.
that's where most fighting games are going because they can't keep casual crowds.
Well, I don't think that's going to be how it is in arcade. I don't think that's how it is in arcade mode. So I think that's specific to this mode. Like with your avatar and all of that.
I don't like it.
In this demo, because I tested it in my video, you can actually turn on modern controls for arcade mode in the little thing, but you cannot really juggle. The auto combo is obviously not nearly as good as an actual player. I turned on modern controls and turned them off. I think modern controls are an interesting innovation, but I don't think no hardcore player, even a casual
it's
player.
It's just to bring the skill floor up. That's all they're trying to do.
Well, I think that they're looking at it. I think they're looking at the adventure story mode as something that like a lot of casual players will gravitate towards, whereas clearly the people who are going to be on the circuit tours and all, they're going to go right into online or arcade mode and just go all traditional, and they'll pick their main character they've been using for decades now. I don't mind it because Street Fighter, it almost feels like a reaction to Street Fighter 5. Sean, you said you didn't play Street Fighter 5. When it first came out, it was one of the most bare bones releases I think I've ever seen.
Oh, I know.
And that's saying something for a fighting game.
No, because I went to the skate shop and to get a new board, and my buddy Mark was working, and I was like, "What's up?" He was like, "You play Street Fighter 5 yet?" And I was like, "Nah." And he was like, "There's like nothing to it." And he was telling me just how like it had like just a few characters. And I was like, "They're gonna add more, but I don't understand it." And I was like, "That's stupid. I'm not fucking buying that shit." And I never did.
I think OJ will remember this. They rushed it because the game had like a couple characters that were fully done, and Evo was coming out in a couple months, and they didn't want to have Street Fighter 4 again, so they just straight up, very of their own admission, rushed Street Fighter 5. But Street Fighter 5 got to be top tier. But it was definitely
they had to build on it forever.
It took a long time for Street Fighter 5 to be something. They dramatically improved the netcode too by the end of it, but it was rough for many years. But this one seems to be a lot better. Like the netcode seems better from the test. This one seems to be more feature rich. It seems to be more authentic. Street Fighter 5 looked generic, but Street Fighter 6 looks so much better. It looks like they actually spent their time on this one. So that's good. That's good. It's got crossplay, which is, you need crossplay in these days, man. Like launching it only on PlayStation, like that just kills for a fighting game. For like a fighting game, that just kills like kills it. So it's good that it's crossplay on PC and all that and other stuff.
The problem is it works because I think 5 was crossplay, but like every time you went up against someone on PlayStation, it like crashed half the time. It was weird.
The crossplay wasn't great, but at least with this one, you have PS4, you have PS5, you have Xbox Series S and X and PC all at the same time. So that's good.
It reminds me, like I said, of kind of a Yakuza-like game. It's definitely more adventure based. You have RPG elements to it. Your character's leveling up. You have stat points. All these different things happening. You're going around. You're learning from these different teachers. When you finish the demo, they're sending you off to go learn from Chun-Li and all of this. What do you think, Max?
I liked that. I think because I have played quite a few fighting games, but always at like a pretty low skill level. I mean, I'll go and beat people at the arcade because I don't even know the damn buttons. But I think honestly, I'm going to sound crazy here. After playing that demo, I'm most excited for World Tour mode. I'm most excited to see. Let's see. Capcom seems to make so much damn money now. Let's see what they're spending that budget on. Let's see skill trees and advanced. I think one of the funniest things is that you could just walk down the street and start a fight with anybody. You
could just pick a fight with anyone. They were like, go see that shopkeeper. I walked up. I accidentally hit square, and I immediately started fighting. I was like, all right, I guess we're doing this now. I'm supposed to buy a hot dog.
Funny, you can like fight women in it.
Yeah, I had
equal opportunity, man. That's
a
good.
random business guy was walking along, and it's like you gotta challenge that guy to a fight. So I challenged a random businessman, and he's just beating my ass in a suit. I'm like, what's happening? I love it.
Are there any YouTubers for Sean in there? Stuck into?
You can make them probably.
You make them. You make your own character.
I know who I'd make.
Maximilian Dude, because the character creator is insane. So Maximilian Dude made a character that had like 8-foot giant arms and then the tiniest little skinny torso. So he just like a walking crane walked up and started fighting people. It's like, what the hell?
The character creation's pretty good. I was a little surprised on that one too, because it's done in the RE engine. So I was like, I don't know how this will go over, but this is fine. So I am looking forward more to Street Fighter 6 now after that showcase with that new mode really being shown off and getting a demo. And I mean, it's out there now for people to check out. I did see a super chat actually mentioned from Tijo that World Tour, it's just 30 FPS full stop on the PS4.
Jeez.
So I think we're just to the point now where the cross-gen period's over. I know they're coming out for these older systems, but just realize that they're probably not optimizing or attempting 60 FPS for a lot of these games going forward at all on older systems, even fighting games probably.
As someone with very little experience with Street Fighter, like I've played this the one on the SNES, but I think this one looks really, really cool.
Which one? There's 3 on
Yeah, there's 3 of them.
Well, the big one. 2?
Street Fighter 2.
Okay, but they're all technically 2.
Oh gosh.
Oh no.
Street Fighter 2 Alpha.
Yeah,
Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2 Turbo.
There's 4 of them, yeah, because you have Champion Edition and then
Championship Edition.
Street Fighter Alpha.
This is hard if you didn't grow up with it. I don't understand these.
It was DLC before DLC.
I was smixed back then. I'm like, why are there so many Street Fighter 2s?
Yeah. Well, especially because they have the same characters. I remember looking at the box art and being like, I literally don't know.
Different color.
Well, I played one of them.
Okay, Josie played one of the Street Fighters. Now she's looking at this one.
You guys remember when it came out on Genesis? I was like, why is it a championship? I'm playing mine's not championship, but this one's a championship. Why is it? That's not fair.
And it had hyper mode in it too.
Dude, that was the first time I really understood console wars, because like I had the Super NES and they put Street Fighter 2 out for it, and the Genesis didn't have it. And then when the Genesis got Champion Edition, I was like really pissed off. That's console wars like history right there, man.
And then you played it, and then you're like, "This is crap." There's only 3 buttons.
There's only 3 buttons.
Oh, they had 6
You're pressing
buttons.
start and select to do like fierce and medium.
Yeah, you had to get the different controller, but
you gotta get a different controller though.
Yeah.
When I first played it,
didn't have a 6 button.
People who bought the
when I went to
Genesis
play, they have a
early.
6 button.
The rich kids had the 6 buttons.
No, I had a 6 button.
I had the 3 button, and I would play so many games on that. I traded Mortal Kombat. I used to play Mortal Kombat all the time on Genesis with the 3 button. You had to hold start.
You had to hold start to start.
Terrible.
Not bad. Josie was telling us about Street Fighter, then all the old people started talking about Street Fighter. So go ahead, Josie.
Think it looks really cool. And if I get that PS5, I will for sure pick
There it
this
is.
one up.
PS5. Okay, good stuff. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it more now. I'm not as into the fighting games, going online and playing against a bunch of people for hours and hours, but I will play through the World Tour mode and probably enjoy it. We'll see. Evan, you have a Discord question over there.
Your opinion on the best game based on an anime?
Ooh.
It's a difficult one.
Question.
Dragon Ball Kudokai Penchai Naruto 2.
I was gonna say
That one.
Good one.
That's
called
I was gonna say Tenkaichi 3. But I really like that. I really like the original Budokai. I don't know. That one was still really fun.
Josie, you have the expansion pack Switch Online.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
You can play Street Fighter 2 Special Champion Edition.
God.
He's picking fights. He's picking fights with people.
Okay, I'll do it.
Yeah, I think definitely, unironically, Budokai Tenkaichi Dragon Ball Z, I think is the best. But a one that nobody talks about, it's actually one of the rarest PlayStation 4 games, is the Berserk game, Band of the Hawk. And it straight up follows the anime, and you get to just play through all the famous scenes from the anime. And it's actually it's so like dead set based on it. It's actually cool.
So the one anime game that I own is Inuyasha Secret of the Cursed Mask for PS2. It's basically a self-insert episode of Inuyasha. And when I was 11, like that was the best fucking game ever. So I'm just throwing that in there. That's it's pretty cool.
You guys
awesome.
play Jump Force?
Oh,
that's
fighting game nominee of the year.
Fighting game nominee. I think Dragon Ball Fighters is probably the best one based on
I won't say this just because it'll piss off OJ just a little bit, but the Uzumaki Chronicle Naruto games on the PlayStation.
Look, I know why you like him, Jordan. I'm okay. I know why you like him. I can see why you would like them.
They were underrated, and that's it. And then all they started making was Ultimate Ninja games instead, and that was it.
Well, the Uzumaki Chronicles games sold really bad, and the Ultimate Ninja games sold good. So.
All right, let's.
That's what happened.
Let's go over the whole Hi-Fi Rush situation. I saw Jeff grow up in the chat earlier. Jeff, if you're still there, you're feel free to jump in. Evan can get you an invite if you want to come in for this topic.
Nate,
yeah, you can kick Nate. That's fine. If you want to come in, Jeff, because we're about to discuss this, and I know you were on Twitter trying to kind of explain what you meant exactly, and all we're about to do is try to figure out what you meant. So we'll go through this now though, because Hi-Fi Rush and Xbox, it's been a rough couple weeks, right? I feel like we just talked about Xbox like last week and the week before, and how it's just been a rough week or two. I really hope Redfall gets like a 90 on Metacritic.
All I see is Max's videos and my damn selfie.
all my
I watch every one of them too.
Because all I do is I just read the Xbox news, and it's always doom and gloom, and people love it.
Let's see. Hi-Fi Rush. So this came up this was on Jeff Grubb's Game Mess, where he discussed, they were talking about Xbox and a lot of the criticism around that console right now and Microsoft. And he said, quote, based on what I've heard, it just straight up didn't make the money it needed to make. Got good reviews, the buzz was good. So where do you put the blame for something like that? This transcribed over on Insider Gaming. And he also went on to mention that Xbox or Microsoft is not happy with Xbox, the division, the brand, what have you there. But then we did have Aaron Greenberg, who came out and actually refuted this, which you'd kind of expect because Aaron Greenberg is the Xbox games marketing, but said Hi-Fi Rush was a breakout hit for us and our players and all key measurements, expectations. We couldn't be happier with what the team at Tango Gameworks delivered with this surprise release. That tweet amounting 1.4 million impressions, actually. So immediately going back on or shooting back on what was said there. But people still kind of doubt that because, again, Aaron Greenberg is the marketing person at Xbox. So you'd expect him to. He wouldn't say anything bad about it necessarily.
You know what the issue is, though, John, is because since Microsoft is not transparent at all with their sales numbers, obviously because Game Pass, right? They will tell us how many Game Pass subs they have, but we don't know. They will not tell us individual sales numbers of certain games. So because you don't get that, then
I mean,
people might doubt some stuff.
Why is anyone on Xbox like? And I'm not even trying to be mean about this, and this is the only thing I'm going to say about it because I'm so tired of talking about it. But everyone thinks I'm an Xbox hater. But in tomorrow's video, you will see how many Xbox games I actually have.
As a Nintendo tuber, that's good.
Fuck off. Why would anyone buy Hi-Fi Rush on the Xbox if they have Game Pass? I feel like a vast majority of people who own an Xbox have Game Pass. That's the reason to own an Xbox. That's what they try to drive home. That's what they try to bring people in. I don't understand why people think that they're still. I'm not saying anyone on this panel thinks that, but I don't understand why people think that Xbox games still sell decently when they're put in on Game Pass on day one, because nobody's going to buy them.
Well, it's interesting because Microsoft themselves, during the Activision Blizzard case, they actually had a term that they called Game Pass cannibalization. That's their actual term for it, which is that if they have a big budget game and it sells on other consoles, but they put it on Game Pass, like they'll get downloads, but I mean, the overall revenue is going to be so much lower. And I think it's starting to end up hurting them. I mean, the fact that there was no physical edition for Hi-Fi Rush, you can get it on Steam and stuff. Hey, it's the grub. I don't know. Hi-Fi Rush, it's weird because Hi-Fi Rush is so good. That's the weirdest part to me, is that Hi-Fi Rush is so good, but it felt like the tiniest blip on the radar. And there's no sales data or anything.
It was spur of the moment, Jeff. When I saw you in the chat, I wanted to give you a chance to come in and
I appreciate that.
Late or anything. So what do we make of this? It got out of control. I saw you were on top of Reddit. It was crazy.
You damn liar, you phony, you fraud.
The fraud is here. I faked it all. I made up that Kojima shit. That was all just made up.
I have an understanding though of the what's going on here, Jeff. Why don't you just go ahead and explain what's what?
Yeah, it was weird because it was just a small part of a bigger conversation. We were trying to have a conversation about like, hey, Microsoft and revenue, do they still care about that when they had Game Pass? And for a long time, I was thinking that probably doesn't matter as much as growing Game Pass. But in this last year, Phil Spencer's like, no, Game Pass is 15% of our business, and it's not going to be much bigger than that. So, well, in that case, revenue for selling games does still matter. That's weird. And then I was talking about in larger aspects, like we could just look at Halo. I don't know from like insider knowledge about Halo not making money. We could just look at it and see they are laying people off at 343, and we know just like anecdotally, no one's buying a lot of microtransactions in Halo Infinite. That game's not making the money it was supposed to make. And then I pointed to another example that I have heard about, Hi-Fi Rush, and it was not that it was a failure or a flop. I never used those words. It cost this much to make, and the revenue it brought in is this much. There is a discrepancy there. That's all I know. Whether or not that was the key metrics that they were looking for, honestly, probably not, right? Because they're putting out I'm glad Aaron Greenberg came out and said what he said, because Hi-Fi Rush never should have been become the punching bag that it became based on what I was saying. That was never the point. For sure, they're happy with the game. For sure, they're happy with Tango Gameworks. They flushing your toilet, RGT? Yeah. Sorry.
No, it's not me.
It's Celia. Celia's flushing.
No, there's gardening outside. I have my window open, and it's like.
Hello. Tell him I said hello. But yeah, it was weird. It shouldn't have became that punching bag. And they are investing more in Tango Gameworks. That's public. They're doing a lot more with that studio. So if it didn't perform in terms of revenue, it's really hard to blame the game. I just would not do that. They did something different with that game than they've done with other games. They put it out as a shadow drop. There was no marketing campaign. It was something new for the studio in general. It just kind of came out of nowhere. So I bet its key metrics were very different than your budget's this much and the revenue needs to match that. Well, no, it could do other things like just establish Tango Gameworks as this other kind of studio, and it definitely succeeded on all those terms.
Sure. Get people excited looking back in Xbox. There's kind of that thing that's not as tangible as like it's just a straight up revenue coming in that they can see value in as well.
Right. But like we were just trying to have that conversation because like Microsoft Gaming probably doesn't need to make money, and Game Pass has to be slowing down because we could see Xbox sales are slowing down, and Game Pass sells when people buy Xboxes, they buy Game Pass alongside that. That's who's going to be doing that now because we're pretty much saturated. The people who have had Xboxes for a long time, got them at launch, or have been in the ecosystem for a very long time, they've made the decision about whether or not Game Pass is for them. The people they need to get now are the people coming to Xbox, new, fresh to this generation, and though the Xbox hardware sales have slumped in the last several months, so like I bet they have looked at the numbers and like, Game Pass is not going to be like this disruptive thing to our business model. So
Halo needed to make money and it didn't, and all these other games, should they be making money in ways that they're not? I don't know. I think that's an open question, but I think it's one that's probably putting a little bit of heat, a little bit of anxiety inside of Microsoft gaming right now.
So I have a question. The gist I'm getting from this is maybe they thought Game Pass was going to be an ultimate moneymaker, which I don't see how they ever would have thought that. But it seems like they put a lot of their eggs into the Game Pass basket, and then that's not quite working out the way they wanted it to in terms of revenue, as far as that is concerned. Is that a fair assessment of what you're saying?
I'll say that I don't know for sure, but looking at it from what I have heard and from the outside, I think that they weren't sure where the ceiling was for Game Pass. And my hunch here is that they thought it was higher than where it's at right now. And I think that, is this really the ceiling? Starfield's coming, a bunch of other bigger games are going to be coming down the line. And if those are good, maybe that pushes things really fast for them. But as it stands right now, I'm sure it's like reaching a bit of a ceiling, and that they have to be reckoning with that. And I think it is lower than what they were expecting it was. And so, they're like, we have... These are our budgets. This is our revenue. There is a discrepancy. We got to figure something out there. And of course, the big thing is Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, Diablo. Those things they generate cash. They make money, and so that's going to be a quick Band-Aid. But that's not. I don't think that suddenly changes the conversation about what was happening under Matt Booty and other people like Phil Spencer. They're going to have hard conversations about, hey, what happened with 343? That can't happen again. Is it happening with other studios? We need to be maybe not cracking the whips, but we got to really be a bit more serious about what these studios are doing. They
definitely have to reevaluate management and how they've been running things for a little while. I think everyone can kind of look at that and be like, yeah, it's kind of obvious.
It really is Halo Infinite, really. That's the one where it's like you look at that and they put out a game where the people in charge clearly didn't know how to make a game that would have enough of stuff to buy and have enough stuff to keep people invested. And so they really didn't know how to make a game that would make money long term. And that's inexcusable for that game. And I don't. That's really what we should be focusing on. Hi-Fi Rush should not be catching strays like that. I was just trying to add another example to that, but lesson learned.
Well, just on that real quick, Grub, what do you think about the shadow drop model on Game Pass? Like, do you think it's something that Microsoft should put back in its bag of tricks and never use again, or do you think there are situations where they could potentially continue to provide shadow drops for specific titles, like AA titles, for example?
I hope they don't put it back in the bag of tricks. I hope that it's something they wield again. They have some data from this that I bet shows, hey, for this game, maybe that wasn't the right call. Although, I mean, again, I don't know what their key metrics are. It seems like they're happy with it. They are investing in Tango. And maybe they feel like the audience has been educated now. And next time around, they might be looking for a shadow drop, and they'll be more ready to pounce on it, more willing to come along with us on that ride. I hope that's the case. I would imagine, though, right now, Microsoft probably feeling skittish about every decision they're making. So I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see another shadow drop of that scale anytime soon.
Remember that show Tango of Love on VH1?
No, I don't.
Yeah, it was a guy. It was on one of the love shows, and then he got his own spinoff show.
I would be making that up, and I would not know.
I'm not. Look it up. Tango of Love.
I'm not going to Google it.
I'm becoming a little concerned about Redfall right now, Jeff. So that's everyone's looking towards Starfield. I'd like to see Arcane show up with that high 80s kind of game again, and just kick the door and be like, "Yep, we're still Arcane." Here's probably what I would assume if they do that, it's their most successful title, then, just because it's on Game Pass. But I don't know. It seems
I'm hopeful.
Seems like there's just kind of a cloud following Microsoft around right now, especially over the last month.
I agree. Yeah, it's something that they are. That's what's increasing these anxieties too, because it's like it is L after L, and it's at a certain point something's going to break, and people are going to. It's already begun happening. They did begin laying people off. They did begin cleaning house of the executive leadership at 343. I think that's honestly just the start. If things don't turn around very quickly. But again, that's me speculating about people losing their jobs, and I hate doing that. It always makes me feel weird, but. That feels like the reality.
Okay. I think the weirdest part about all this is that as a person who's had an Xbox Series X from day one and has been watching this wave of L's, because I made a video about your comments, Jeff, and I definitely think the strangest part is just the fact that, man, it is weird that Game Pass does seem like it meant for people to stay, like with all these studios Microsoft has. I guess during Series X, I thought that we would have a more steady upkeep of you want to keep Game Pass because there's third-party games and indie games and first-party stuff, and it feels weird that we're so deep into this. And I guess Redfall, I don't know. It feels like I wish we had more accurate sales numbers and not just news of these layoffs, because it feels really weird that it's like every game they act like it's the biggest game ever. Oh, here's Forza, our biggest game ever. Okay, now here's Halo, our biggest game ever. I don't know.
I mean, Forza Horizon 5, I bet was a success because that was the one that was like just sold 1 million copies so people could play it early, and so it cost like that was like a higher cost version of that. So I bet that game did fine. Everything else, I'm not so sure about.
Josie, what do you think about Matt Booty from Xbox?
I think
Answer the question.
He's just like saying the name.
You demand the booty.
I just think it's a crazy name. I don't have a lot of comments about this because I'm very not.
What do you think about Matt Booty, Josie? Answer the question.
Okay, well, no, that's actually a good question. Why don't you don't have Game Pass or anything? Why? You are the
Yeah, you have an Xbox, right?
I do. I have a Series S.
No, let her talk about Matt Booty. No,
no, they have the Game Pass.
Oh yeah, take her off track. Let her talk about Matt Booty.
I have nothing to say about that man. I don't.
Okay.
I cannot tell you. I don't know.
What do you
really
think about his
much
name,
him.
Josie? I'll just get straight.
I think it's a wild name, and I feel like it's unfortunate for that.
What's
get a lot of bullying.
What's a wilder name for where they were? Is it Matt Booty or is it Doug Bowser?
That one's just cool.
Okay,
so why don't you have Game Pass? Why don't you have Game Pass?
There's just not a lot. There's not a lot of Xbox games that I'm interested in, I guess. And I don't feel like they're coming out with a lot constantly, where I feel like not getting Game Pass, I'm missing out on something.
The third party stuff doesn't interest you enough?
Not really. I mean, I also have an Xbox very much as a side thing. So it's like if it doesn't come to the Switch, sometimes I'll get it on Xbox. Usually I don't really care.
That's fair.
I guess it's just like they haven't put anything on there that is like, oh, perfect, I have to get this now.
Okay.
I'm kind of rooting for Starfield at this point. I'm genuinely hoping that Starfield just is huge and giant and hyped and 95 on Metacritic, because man, does it feel like Xbox needs a W so badly.
Well, actually, Joseph, let me ask you this. Let's say there is a game that you look at and you go, okay, I should play this on the Xbox. All right, full price game. We'll even say $70. That's like what their brand new titles go for. Are you buying the game or are you signing up for Game Pass? Game Pass being, is it 10 or 15? It's one of the two.
15?
It's 10 for just the games, 15 for Ultimate with Xbox Live and all that stuff.
Okay. Let's say it's 20. Like I'm gonna do 15 or I'm gonna do 70. Like, would you buy the game outright or would you just sign up?
I'd probably just do it like the $10 and then finish it in that month or 2 months and then get rid of it again. I mean, I'm also in college, so I just don't have like a bunch of money to just throw around right now. Mm-hmm. So that's part of it as well.
Time for the Patreon. Let's go. That'll get people really mad at you.
Yikes. I don't.
Okay. Well, hey, that answers it, Jeff. Thank you. Free to stick around, or if you got to pop out, that's fine.
No, I'm going to pop out. You guys have a good one, though. I really appreciate you.
Jeff, I have one quick question before you go, real quick.
Oh, please hit me. Yeah.
On a personal level, how did you feel yesterday when all that was going down? Like, were you like sick to your stomach? Do you feel bad? How do you feel like when you see fires literally just burning around you and you're on the top of Reddit and you're getting a lot of criticism, obviously, from people?
Keep in mind, Emoji's banned from Reddit.
Yeah, I'm banned, by the way.
Piece of shit. All deserved it.
I felt terrible is the real answer. I just feel terrible because it's never the intention to sort of because you do realize Tango Gameworks is still they have to go into work the next day and they have to be excited about the thing they're working on, and suddenly some schmuck on some podcast is saying what about wait, Microsoft's not happy with us, which is I never said that, but those were the headlines. Yep. And I'm like, okay, I'm responsible for what I say, and I am responsible for for the effects of that. Now I don't apologize for doing my job. It is my job, and I feel strongly about that. I'm going to keep doing it. And especially in the face, like people are like, you don't say these things because it makes Microsoft look bad. I'll like, go fuck yourself. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. But on the other side, like it does legitimately hurt people in some ways. And I don't write for them. I don't work for them. And I have to keep that in mind. And that's what kind of keeps me like, okay, I got to still just kind of, what I know is the truth. I'm going to keep reporting as the truth, trying to add some illumination to what is actually happening in the video game industry. And yeah, I come away from it a lot of times making my tummy hurts. I'm like, oh, my tummy hurts from this. This sucks, because I know people are having real world effects from it. But yeah, and it's weird. But it's the job, and I'm gonna keep doing it.
Good answer. Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, y'all. Have a good one. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Hey, Grub.
Bye, Grub.
All right, there we go. Jeff Grubb.
What a nice guy. The king.
You know, I am curious about this, Celia.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about the indie world in a minute here, but we're talking about shadow drops, and if that's a good strategy. If you could, as someone who'd be working to promote and move a game, would you rather shadow drop, or would you rather build up for like 7 or 8 months for release?
So with marketing in general, there's beats that you announce the game, it's coming soon, a release window, or out now. Unless your game has a ton of first-party support, or it's like a huge IP that has a cult-like following that people would kill for, you never, ever, ever shadow drop. Okay. A lot of sales, like with indie or in general, like with AA titles as well, depending on your first-party support, and it doesn't mean just appearing in like a direct, but like having so much eyeballs where it's not just mentioned out now in a direct, but it's also shown on featured in the shop and like done with advertising everywhere. And there's like paid promotional advertisements for like ads online. Like unless you're getting that support, very, very bad idea. And if there's a case of that where you do get lucky, that is the exception. It's not the guarantee.
Okay. We're gonna move over to that Indie World show. This was one of Sean's favorite things of the week. I have it on good authority here.
Oh boy, can't wait.
Sean liked a lot of the cat games.
There was 3 of them.
he counted. He knows. We had the Indie World presentation. It was a little over 20 minutes long, and I have some questions about maybe the structure of it, but it was definitely an Indie World show. I have all the games in front of me here. I can read through every single one of them. Celia, do you want to tell us about the Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon Puzzlers Pack DLC that's out spring 2023 first, though?
Yeah, so it's going to be out late spring, coming soon because it is spring right now. We'll have a release date for it coming soon. But oh my gosh, like more people first off need to play Pocket Dungeon. It's such a fun game. It has roguelike mechanics, but it also has like match 3 kind of gameplay to it. You can make tons of combos. You can fight your favorite Shovel Knight characters, and you can play as your favorite Shovel Knight characters. But for the Puzzlers pack, we've expanded even more. It's a free DLC because we keep on doing that. We should charge for it. There's so much content there. Like it's basically Pocket Dungeon 2. And it's the first of 3 like DLCs. So there's more coming that way. Also, it's on sale on Nintendo Switch right now. So it's 50% off. So go buy it before it comes out.
I'm literally buying it now.
Yeah, like literally, it's awesome. But yeah, like there's tons of new things in there. There's this thing called Quandary Castle where you can do 4 different challenges per character. There's secret bosses. We've added in a ton of like really fun content to it. So go play it. It's amazing. Spread the good world of Shovel Knight and all that fun stuff. So yeah, that's my spiel. Thanks, guys.
Let's go.
Is all the DLC free? All the DLC is free?
All the DLC is going to be free. It's Yacht Club Games Logic. We do that every time.
When's Mina coming out?
Oh my gosh, I would love to know that as well. But I did play test a level on Friday because they watched me play.
I played at GDC.
Yeah,
it's fun.
You liked it? Yay! Yeah, I played a level on Friday, a new one, and it was really, really fun. And I can't talk about it because it's a secret, but oh my gosh, I'm so excited for that game to come out.
You just talked about it.
But I didn't say what it was, and
You just said, I'm calling, I'm telling. No.
Hello, Mr. Yacht.
Let's see. The Indie World Direct. Stop me if I run over one, Sean, that you're really excited for.
Fuck off.
Yeah, stopping that cat one for him.
No, if there is one that someone is really that is interested in, wants to talk for a minute about, feel free to stop me. But let's see. Minico's Night Market, My Time at Sandrock, Played Up, Quilts and Cats of Calico. Gonna pause for Sean.
John's favorite.
Okay, nothing there. Okay.
All right, well,
Rift of the Necrodancer. I was interested in this one. Rift of the Necrodancer. We've seen We've seen Crypt Necrodancer. We saw the Zelda collaboration as well.
They made 3 of these already?
Yeah, we've had a couple. Little to the left, Cupboards and Drawers DLC, the Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon Puzzlers Pack DLC, Cult of the Lamb update.
I still want to play that game. I haven't played it. I want to play Cult of the Lamb. It looks cool.
It's an odd game, I guess. It's an interesting take on kind of the village management. You end up sacrificing some of your villagers.
Normally, you can combine at least the PC version with your stream. So I don't know. I mean, that might be something fun for you to do on stream, OJ.
Yeah.
You sacrifice people in chat, right? That's how it works.
And I think they set stuff up too as well.
It's kind of cool. You can play that. You can play with your like the chat and stuff as they watch it. Yeah, it has interaction. I think it might be on PC, and you kind of tie it to like, is it Twitch?
Yeah. I think it was Twitch. I don't know if they got other things to work.
Okay,
you'd have to look into it.
Animal Well. This was the one where I think Donkey, I believe this is production, and he was in the back walking on like rocks in the water or something.
I like the art style. It looks cool.
Yeah, I'm curious what the conversation was with Nintendo for that one, but there you go.
That would be hilarious to hear. Does he talk like that to Nintendo too? Like in that voice that he speaks? Like,
this game is such the best graphics.
He's actually really nice in real life. Like, I got to meet him at PAX East, and he's so sweet and quiet.
You see him, and then you see that voice, and you're like, "What's there's okay."
Crime O'Clock. We have Tesla Grad 2 and Tesla Grad Remastered, Shadows Over Loathing.
Shadows Over Loathing. I want to talk about that one.
Okay, Shadows Over Loathing.
Okay, Shadows Over Loathing. More people need to buy it. I own it on Steam. It is amazing.
It's out now.
It's made by the same creator of West of Loathing. And if anyone remembers the browser-based game Kingdom of Loathing, I used to play that in the early 2000s because I had dial-up internet, and it was the only thing I could play. It's so much fun. It's like the humor's there. It gets oddly demonic really quickly in the game. If you like a lot of text-based reading RPGs,
this is one with stick figures. The stick figures in it.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the creator style. I remember years ago I went to PAX and he was demoing West of Loathing, the creator of the game, and he looks exactly like you would imagine him to be for the franchise. It's great. Go support him.
I only know about Fear and Loathing, unfortunately.
Well, Shadows Over Loathing is out now. That was kind of like a shadow drop that they did, so that's released. So check that one out. Blasphemous 2, which I like Blasphemous.
Yeah.
Blasphemous was pretty good. So seeing 2 with some new mechanics and stuff, I'm interested. I was
pretty hyped. I downloaded Blasphemous, the original one, because I didn't play it, and it was pretty good. So
it is good, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yep. So that's out. Blasphemous 2 is out summer 2023. Oxenfree 2, which this had some people pretty excited. We already knew about
the game, right?
I liked the first one. I loved the first one. It's a great weird story horror game.
July 12th.
Yeah, that looks good.
You on that, Evan?
I'm checking it out.
I'm writing it down.
Netflix,
we're gonna have a
Hmm?
section for Evan on that weekend to tell us about Oxenfree 2
on Netflix.
I am excited.
Yeah, not on Xbox.
Okay, that
was.
I didn't say that. I just said Netflix. I didn't mention that on Xbox.
There was a viral tweet where it said like it's on everything, and it says like PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, PC, Netflix, Nintendo Switch, and then there's just a gap. It's like
that's a conflict of interest for Netflix. They own it, right? That's a conflict of interest. Of course, they're not going to put it on.
It's weird because Microsoft and Netflix work together. Microsoft does like their ad stuff.
Not anymore.
Right. That was another thing where it popped up. It's like, come on, Xbox can't catch a break. Paper Trail. We have Little Kitty, Big City. Gonna pause for Sean.
Wait, Sean. Okay, come on. Talk about Big City, Little Kitty. I don't know. So wasn't that game a pixel art game before, and then they made it 3D? Because I'm pretty sure I own that game.
Nobody knows. Nobody on this panel knows the answer to that.
I'm sorry.
Are you covering Sean? I feel like you followed this thing.
No. But the pixel art one was really, really fun. So I'm excited to play it. You play as a little kitty and you're lost in a big city.
Okay, I was gonna ask if like that was like what the game was about. Like
that is again, okay, so if it's the game that I think it is, spoiler alert. So basically something sad happens. You lose your mom, and you need to go find her.
I like what Turbo Waffle 99 says. Big City, Little Kitty sounds like a porno. Thank you.
Hey, well,
turning into the after show.
Big city little kid, definitely.
Well,
It's almost 10.
Chance of Sonar, that's out in September. Brotato, 2023. Escape the Academy, Five Nights at Freddy's, Security Breach, and then Bomb Rush Cyberpunk.
Oh, look, a game that
was
looks like a video game.
That was August 18th. That was all in the sizzle reel. By the way. That's the structure that was kind of weird to me, because Bomb Rush I thought would have been a cool one to have the date earlier in the show.
That should have been the fact that Cats and Quilts or Quilts and Cats or whatever the fuck it's called.
Get it right.
And the fact that fucking Little to the Left, they did a segment for that for DLC, meaning that's the second time I've seen that fucking game, because the first time I saw it was in an indie world. Like, I don't understand what sort of deals are being made with these companies where it's like, okay, you could be on 2 of these indie world presentations, but Bomb Rush, a game that people are actually going to be genuinely interested in, a game that's actually going to sell really well, you get regulated to a sizzle reel. It's like, I get it. These indie worlds have a structure, but there have been really good indie world presentations where they've shown more like, traditional video games, shit like Shredder's Revenge, shit like Panzer Dragoons, shit like House of the Dead. It's like, I don't understand, like, who is picking the games to go on this show. It needs a better variety, because there was some good stuff there. And I feel like if you had Bomb Rush as like a big title instead of these other sort of
opener
weird niche titles and stuff, and ending on a sizzle reel, like, that was kind of weird too, I felt.
They're just trying to refocus on the cozy games you love so much.
But here's my thing. It's an indie world direct. What are we all expecting from these? These are indie games. Like you're going to go in there and you're going to see a bunch of weird.
You expect House of the Dead, Ninja Turtles.
Don, when you mostly play AAA and AA games, that's like I wouldn't really consider you seeking out a bunch of indie games and you go and watch an indie world expecting something interesting. Yeah, you're going to find like 1 or 2 things in a realm of like 100 things.
I feel like there needs to be better variety, and I'll always say that because they have done shows that have had better variety that I felt
that could most be a thing.
More people enjoyed more so than the ones where it's not.
I've just never watched an indie world that's like, man, they didn't have anything for me. Like, it's indie games. It's like, I don't know. It's you find stuff to support. Some things don't hit, and yeah, there's gonna be like 10 cat games. It happens.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever watched an indie world that I felt was like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. It's always just like, there's some stuff here, but I don't think I'd ever call any of them like, oh my gosh, I'm blown away. It's indie games. These developers, they're made like cool 1 or 2 people. Like it's just cool to like for those people to like they're indie games. So yeah, I'm never expecting much. Like, I'm not expecting like games like Shredder's Revenge. Like that's like a license. Obviously, it's a special type of game. I'm not expecting that type of quality or that type of game to show up. Or House of the Dead, which used to be a big game, right? House of the Dead used to be a big franchise. Or even like Panzer Dragoon. Panzer Dragoon was like a big AAA game. It's just they put it in the indie show and like that for that remake. So I'm not expecting
because it's an indie
level,
game. That's the thing. Indie games are that's almost like going into the stigma that the indie games are still all these smaller, weird niche productions when they're not. We've seen it time and time again where indie games have grown.
Panzer Dragoon's not an indie game. It's just a remake of an old game. It's a remake of a major franchise that used to be that was their answer to Final Fantasy. That was supposed to be Sega's answer to Final Fantasy. Panzer Dragoon.
Kind of. No, the original Panzer Dragoon was not. The original Panzer Dragoon.
No, sorry. That franchise that it evolved into that. Panzer Dragoon evolved into that. Like at the last Panzer Dragoon game was the RPG. Yeah, was the RPG on there. So it evolved into that. So like it was a big franchise. It wasn't like a franchise that was a small indie thing. It wasn't a cheap franchise for Sega. It's just they remade the game, right? And yeah, you could put it in there because that's the scale of the game. Not at this point. It's not a big budget game anymore. But Panzer Dragoon wasn't meant to be some type of small game, but I see what you're saying. That remake sucked though, by the way. I was actually disappointed by that remake. But I see what Sean's saying. Like I totally see what you're saying though, bro. Like I see what you're saying.
I think until Hollow Knight Silksong finally comes out or at least gets revealed and we get the release date, people just that's the expectation, it seems, for any of these indie shows. So I hope that game just comes out already, because then
so weird that the title's basically holding these shows hostage now.
It kind of is, isn't it? Every time an indie show gets announced, it's like Hollow Knight Silksong.
Xbox announced it, remember? And they announced it in their next 12 months show, and like we're fast approaching the next end of those 12 months.
Oh, why are you bashing Xbox? You're just bashing Xbox. You can't even say fucking shit about shit anymore, even if it's true, because it's agitating. It's like, no, it's factual, you dumb fuck.
I will make a video where I'm reading the news and someone will call me a liar, and I'm like, I'm literally just reading. I don't know.
Hey, maybe Hollow Knight's maybe that's a shadow drop. There you go.
It could
Woodwork. Hollow Knight's like for Silksong would work because it has that rabid fan base. But in general, just to like kind of touch on things that people were talking about, I think that there needs to be like indie. I think is too broad of, and I think everyone would agree on that. It's too broad of a category because putting like a really like Nintendo being able to have an indie world showcase and showcase different games, but also throwing like Shredder's Revenge in there or throwing in like Silksong, but also comparing that also to like a one person like tiny little team that's getting like an awesome spotlight and a lot of eyeballs on their game is really unfair. So maybe Nintendo should break it up and like have like their indie world like and then like the cozy showcase or separating it so expectations aren't, oh, we didn't see Silksong, this show sucks, even though there's a bunch of games that are appealing to certain people.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something Sean said a while ago that I very much agree with. He said this a couple indie directs is that I definitely think the problem is like I wish they had more, like even in the pacing of it, I wish they'd break up different art styles and stuff. My problem is anytime I watch a lot of these indie directs is when you see like 5 pixel games with the same color palette in a row, they just literally, my brain glazes over. And even if they're great games where it's like farming game that's quirky, it's like, please give me something that's more bright based. Now give me something that's like pixel. Give me one that's like retro polygons.
No cat.
Do we have a farming cat game yet?
I think we need one.
It's coming.
Like a farming cat battle royale. That might be it right there.
MVG, get on it, man.
It has to be a roguelike.
Yeah.
Only if it's cozy.
There's no
I'm okay with it.
There's no cat farming games on the Carbon engine.
Oh, this could
Sorry.
be the first. It could be the first. All right. That's the indie world, though. It was it was an indie world. There you go. Let me go over to some of the super chats here. Tijo says, "What's your most anticipated game of the year, and why is it Trails into River?" Trail series. What's my most? I mean, I think most people right now, because we're so close, is going to say Zelda. Unless I'm off.
Pikmin 4.
Pikmin. Okay, see, there it is. I like it.
Sea of Stars.
I'm Final Fantasy 16 by a long shot.
Okay, good stuff.
Zelda for me.
Yeah, Tears of the Kingdom.
Khalil says, any recommendations on a Steam Deck case? I just use the one they sent me.
The one they give you, man.
Yeah.
It's a good case.
A suitcase? Go get a suitcase. There's some that you can go get at some of those stores that it would fit, right?
Unless you bought one like used or something, you didn't get a case. But every Steam Deck should have its own case.
Luna says, how many of you consider yourselves a Nintendo YouTuber? Let's see. We have Sean.
Fuck off.
Only Sean. I don't think everybody else here is not a Nintendo YouTuber.
You of all people.
Rich. Evan. Friend.
Run from my fate, though. I already know I am.
I talk about Hey Arnold.
They have a Nintendo game, right? Just
They have a Game Boy game, yeah.
RGT, don't talk about Nintendo for 2 months. See what happens to your channel.
True.
I talk about everything. I talk about what I want to talk about.
Don't talk about Nintendo for 2 months. See what happens, bro. The algorithm's gonna boot you the hell out.
I don't think so. I'd be fine.
TJ says 30 FPS should not be a thing, even in quality mode for Street Fighter 6. That was a little jarring to see that game at 30 frames when you turned it on at first. I was a little confused.
I almost reverted my pre-order when you guys were talking about that. That was scary.
That was weird.
It was actually weird because it looked like the background. Some of the stadiums looked like they were running at like 45 frames a second, and the characters were at 30 frames. So I was actually having like a weird, like it was tripping me out.
The background would run at different frame rates. Yeah, I noticed that. Phoenix, no message here. Thanks, Phoenix. Prinny says, good guy Jeff Grubb driving the weekend news cycle for content creators and media outlets. That's right. Shout out to Jeff Grubb. Tijo says, so who won the Street Fighter 2 match? We haven't played yet.
Yeah, we haven't played yet.
No, the Nintendo YouTuber challenged me to it. And
you can do it on the after show.
We're playing it on the Sega Genesis, though. So it's not, once again, it's not a Nintendo thing. It's a Sega Genesis thing.
It was just strange how you challenged me to that immediately rather than Street Fighter 6, which is coming up.
I mean, we could wait.
Is it potentially because Street Fighter 2 appeared on the Nintendo Switch randomly?
No, because it's easy to play it online with a friend. We're friends on that current platform.
Friends.
Are you?
Yes.
Okay.
Paleo says one of these Zelda games I haven't played and finished. Which should I play first? 2 Oracle games, 2 DS games, or Minish Cap?
Phantom Hourglass.
No.
How big are your hands?
I like Oracle. The Oracle games are good, but I actually recently beat Minish Cap when it came to the Switch, and that game is so absolutely mind blowing.
Right? I never finished Minish Cap, and yeah, when it came on Switch, I was like, I guess I'm playing now, and it's so fun. Like, it made me after I beat it, it made me actually feel kind of sad because I realized that we're probably not going to be getting like another 2D Zelda game.
I thought that.
And
you don't think they'll try remaking an Oracle of Ages Seasons or even Minish Cap?
They will, but it'll be 3D style. It's not going to be that 2D magic. And I don't know, there's just something really special about a top-down, 2D Zelda game.
I feel like they could hand it off to a company that's been doing really well with pixel art. Like, some of the indie companies have been blowing me away with how incredible the animations are at that tier, so I don't see why they couldn't just do that.
I almost feel like that game can't be remade. I just feel like it's already so good and it's aged so well. It feels so modern. I kind of just feel like, playing it on Switch is pretty much as good as that game can be.
Yeah, you could say the same thing about Resident Evil 4.
Capcom's ready to take another shot at it. Okay, they got that RE engine upgraded. Let's go, Minish Cap.
I'm playing the vanilla version of Resident Evil 4 once again with my infinite rocket launcher, just having fun.
Yeah, move and shoot for Phantom Hourglass. Yeah.
Phantom Hourglass. Not Spirit Tracks?
Listen, I'm a classy man. It's Phantom Hourglass, okay? Spirit Tracks is fine, but if you want to show some class, you play Phantom Hourglass.
Phantom Hourglass it's actually good. I know I rag on it a lot, but it's actually good.
Yeah, you're damn right it is.
Love it. I don't know why the Phantom Hourglass hate. I love it, but I do. I'll be.
I told you my hands.
3 years of me saying this to get back up on it, but here we go.
My hands are too big for the damn little DS screen.
That's why I got
play it on the Wii U.
Sounds like a skill issue to me.
Well, why aren't you playing it on the Wii U with the gamepad, OJ? Come on.
Wait, can you play on the Wii U with the gamepad? I never bought it.
No, not anymore.
Fake Nintendo YouTuber.
Oh, come on, Jordan.
Hey, what are you gonna do about it?
Come on now.
Yeah, I'm not the one who shut the servers down, okay?
That's true. I have the game. I can play it on my DS.
We don't need servers. Don't worry about it.
You don't need servers. Now where we're going. Metro says, does Game Pass model really benefit third parties and Microsoft? Maybe return to funding and publishing like on 360, and please bring back Halo spinoffs like ODST. I wouldn't mind a Halo spinoff and hand that to one of the studios that they have acquired. Or
I know people will hate me for this though, but I wouldn't mind them returning back to the 360 model. Like if they wanted to kind of go back to that. I know people love Game Pass and all that, but I don't know. That's just me.
No, you can't go back now. You've gone too far.
I know they went too far, but I'm saying if they did, let's just say the next gen, they said, hey, look, we're gonna clean break. Like we're gonna go back to making.
Ain't no one buying that shit.
big game. I mean, if they had big games like they had with the 360 era, like if they had those big deals like they had, and people would buy it.
I still don't think so.
No.
Yeah,
nobody would buy it.
See, my thing is that I agree with you. In my video yesterday talking about it, I basically said that if they want to be financially profitable, maybe they need to do like a 30-day. You get Game Pass.
Well, if they're funding projects, go buy Final Fantasy 17.
The problem, the reason why people wouldn't buy it is because they would not trust Microsoft after some of the offerings that they did on the Xbox One and thus far on the system. There's no reason to believe right now that if they got rid of the Game Pass model that you would be getting a high quality game.
No, I'm not saying that they do it right now. What I'm saying is like in the next gen.
They have to prove it.
Are they stuck with Game Pass forever so they can never break off from Game Pass?
Well,
no.
It's the type of thing if you're getting free meals from Waffle House for 10 years and then they're suddenly like, hey,
you're only living for 5 of those.
You're gonna yes. And you managed to live all 10 years for that garbage food. And I used to work there, so I can say that.
Good.
But man, my thing is that imagine if suddenly they start charging you, you're not gonna go to Waffle House anymore. You're gonna go to fucking
But what if they told you like, hey, we're charging you, but the quality gets better, the consistency's better.
No,
and there's good.
No, look, after eating 10 years of bullshit, no, I'm not gonna like my free garbage. I'll take it.
But they actually have the games to show you. Like the 360, they had the games ready. Like the games were there. They were ready to go. So I'm saying in the perfect world, they go back to that. Like people wouldn't buy that if it was like the 360.
The biggest problem, for better or worse, is that we've talked about this on this very episode, but the fact that they have now coupled Game Pass with Xbox. So if suddenly you start to try and take away Game Pass, like there's just Xbox, I feel like it's just going to.
They'd have to do something drastic, which probably means they'd have to make Call of Duty exclusive.
Yeah, that's what Call
they'd
of
have
Duty
to do something crazy. They'd have to be something crazy.
Overwatch exclusive.
World of Warcraft 2 only on
all the fears are coming
announce
true.
all the games are $50.
I think that's the direction they go, and all of a sudden,
Diablo exclusive, all that crap would have to be exclusive, right? That's what they did in the 360 era. They were just hella exclusives or timed exclusives. They were buying Japanese stuff all over the place. They were like going in, and it worked, I guess, for a bit.
Also, games didn't take 10 years to make.
That's you're right about. Yeah, that's true.
We had like 4 Gears of War games consistently.
3 Uncharted in a row from like
it was just a good generation of like constant sequels coming out and constant game. It wouldn't be like, oh, it took 10 years to master this game. Like
absolutely right about that.
We have to. I want more time put into games. I want the best quality game out there, but like we have to figure out something with these dev cycles. Like
Thomas. Go ahead, Celia.
Okay, what? Okay, so this is gonna sound probably overdone, but what exclusives are on Xbox? So I don't own an Xbox. I have a PS5, I have a Switch, but
don't you? Does Yacht Club Games not do anything with Xbox?
We do things sometimes with Xbox. The last thing that we had on there was Cyber Shadow, so it's been a couple of years, so I haven't been paying attention too much to the Xbox release cycle.
How are the sales of Cyber Shadow on Xbox comparative to other platforms?
Well, Cyber Shadow was released on Game Pass day one. So a lot of people played the game. I'm not sure what information I'm allowed to reveal on it, but a lot of people played it and we got a lot of downloads.
I couldn't tell by your voice.
Numbers.
The only major Xbox Series X games we've gotten in the last 2 years are like Flight Simulator, which a lot of people don't even consider a game. Forza,
Grounded.
We got Halo Infinite. Grounded, Intimate. Like we have games, but I feel like none of them are like nothing is as big as God of War Ragnarok or
damn, that's not the 360 era.
Yeah, which one of those are they tattooing in their arm to roll their sleeve up for?
Yeah, right.
Damn, that's not
Flight Simulator, baby. Let's go. I'm getting that.
Simulator.
Yo, like
it's got a little Cessna.
It's like Blue Dragon, Lost Odyssey, Star Ocean. It was just like one Eternal Sonata, one after the Tales of Vesperia. Like I can just go on and on about 3 seconds what they did to just try to force their way into the market, like crazy stuff, man. I don't know. That's a good word, but I see what you guys are saying. No, I 100% what you guys are saying.
They need to bring back Rare, like Banjo-Kazooie.
No, Rare. No, you can't.
They need to. Conquer's Bad Fur Day. I would buy an Xbox
Rare is not
for
a Game Pass if they did that.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Rare is not rare as they were, and I don't think they're ever going
Get
to
the
be.
gang back together. They're like what, 60? They can still do it. They have hands.
A lot of them started their own
This turned into
studios.
the Amico. You get all the guys back from the heyday of Shiny Entertainment with Earthworm Jim, cool spot, and then how did that work out? It didn't.
Well, don't give them Twitter this time, okay? And like no one will know.
Tommy Tallarico lied about that. He didn't even really get everybody back together. Dude's a liar.
And the whole thing was like, hey, why don't you guys come over? We'll hang out. It'll be like old times. And he's like, all right, we're going to go on camera here. We're going to talk about how we're doing Earthworm Jim 4. It's like, what the fuck?
I think somebody, I can't remember if this is a leak or a report, but apparently Sea of Thieves made like way more money for Rare than Banjo-Kazooie or anything. So I think in a weird way, as much as I would love to see them go back, I just have a feeling.
Oh, it's definitely the most successful game they've ever made.
Microsoft,
a
lot of that game,
yeah.
They're stuck. They're stuck now. They're the pirate people.
Well, I mean, I heard that Banjo-Kazooie's coming.
Yeah,
I mean, you got banned from Reddit to bring us that info.
Baby.
Wait, really? Like, I don't pay attention to leaks, but really, is it because that's amazing?
He's just.
You're lying to me.
It's like saying, oh, there's
I'm
going to
gonna
be a
believe
new
you anyway.
Mario. Oh, holy shit, a new Mario. I'm like, yeah, they probably are working on it.
No, Rare is working on Everwild right now,
which they don't even know what it is.
They presented it, but apparently they presented it before the concept was formed. So
insane.
I'm not really sure why.
It would be really cool if we actually picked a genre for this, guys. That'd be really cool if we ever.
Yeah, they admitted that in an interview afterwards, which was a weird. First off, that was a weird thing to admit. Second off, that was a weird thing to do in the first place, was to show the game. But they're working on it. They are working on it.
I feel like it's a little bit like I feel like it's like one of those thrill-seeking things. It's just be like, we don't even know. Let's see this.
I kind of think Xbox was at the point where they were just like, look, just start showing stuff, please. We need to.
Thrill-seeking of it, like they're like, hey, you don't be wild.
Yeah, like set the bar for something you don't even know you have. And just be like, let's see what happens. I don't.
It's like skydiving or something.
Hell yeah! Do you know the parachute's in there? No. Oh well.
What a run.
Awesome.
Okay. Let's. This is from. Okay, this is from. Sobo says, "Did you guys see Xenoblade Chronicles 3's final DLC trailer?" I think OJ may have. He may have watched it once. I
watched it, analyzed it, watched a million other people who analyzed it.
He said, how much worse do you think it's going to be compared to Xenoblade Chronicles 2, considering that's the best Xenoblade?
First of all, that's not the best.
Yeah, clearly not. The first one is the best one. Operation Rainfall literally got us one of the best games.
Third one's the best one, but first one's very good. First one's very good. Everybody has their opinions, but yes, Future Redeemed is the finale. It's great because it shows, what happened to Shulk and what happened to Rex and what happened to their kids. And stuff. No, they fight somebody else.
No, they fight together. I saw the trailer.
Yeah, they fight together. Yes, they're all on the same team. They fight together, but
no, they fight each other. So they appear in front of each other. They each have their swords, and Shulk has the Monado, and then they're like, "You're not going to get past me," and they fight.
Let's touch tits.
No, they don't fight each other. They're fighting somebody else.
Have you played it?
I've seen it. You're misrepresenting the product, sir.
No, see, I have a friend. My uncle is working on the game.
They
fight each other?
Is this the big climactic DLC for the entire series right here?
This is it. It is the end of the trilogy.
You feel like that means that Monolith on to something else then? All right.
Monolith's been doing something.
I'm ready for that. I want to see what else they got. I'm curious.
It's probably going to be the next Switch though. I don't think it's going to be the.
Hey, that's even better. I'm curious what they can do with that hardware. Cool.
But this is it. But it's good. It's going to be really good. You got Pyra's child in the game. You got Shulk's child in the game as well. So it's got a whole family tree. It's got a whole big family tree all fighting together. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
I don't know. They're just fighting each other.
No, fighting together.
This is a good super chat here. That'll transition us over to the next game, which Max, I think you can fill us in on for this. Marcel says, so Burning Shores DLC got released. Did this DLC show next gen graphics? I also expected fights like against Horus to belong in a main game, not DLC. Thoughts? Okay, so Burning Shores, it did come out. It's $20 DLC. It's for Forbidden West. It is exclusive to the PS5. And after playing it for a couple hours, I understand why it's exclusive to the PS5. This is a game where you do start to kind of see the next gen promise, I guess, for it. Because I would be curious to see if this could even run on the PS4 at any kind of frame rate. Because I thought I was off. I was like, does this just look better now for some reason? I don't get it. And I went back and looked at some footage I had from the original one, and it's more impressive in this area that they basically teleport you to, which is there's a lot of water. It's definitely aqua themed for most of it. But what did you think of the DLC, Max?
I absolutely freaking loved it. I did a review of it, which blew up more than I thought it was going to. But man, it's the new area is LA. And of course, it's like based on a bunch of real landmarks. So there's a destroyed Hollywood sign and the Los Angeles Observatory and stuff with the typical overgrowth. But man, it's crazy how much that game can still feel fresh and new. They give you new weapons. There's new enemies and stuff. But the craziest thing is that the whole DLC, you have this NPC partner named Seika, who's super well written, and y'all do puzzles together. You fight together. There's been all those leaks from last year that Horizon 3 is going to be co-op. I definitely think it's going to be co-op. And now that I've seen it,
now that you're mentioning that makes sense actually for a lot of the quests and puzzles you're doing. Yeah, that's a good point because you're already basically doing stuff with the CPU, the partner is going along with you. Where you're like, okay, now help me up on my side. I'm gonna help you up over here. Okay, I see what you're saying. Well, we also have the multiplayer game coming.
Yeah,
like the multiplayer.
Their weird monster hunter thing. You could definitely see the bricks that they're trying to build. But I have to say, visually, writing wise, I like it. As weird as it is, I like Aloy. I like Aloy's story. I like Seika more. The new character I think is really well written. She's also sort of an outcast from her tribe. And this new location that's so far away, kind of adapting to the aqua environment. I don't know. I'm impressed.
I hope
definitely
they do that more.
There is
like with the party stuff, like in the third one, if you can have like a team of 3 or 4, I think that would breathe so much like new life into that franchise, because not everybody loves Aloy, you know, her personality and stuff. So if you had like a party of 3 or 4, I think that would be super dope.
I haven't gotten to the end of it, but people are just posting stuff on Twitter of like the big boss, and I saw a video of it. I'm like, okay, that looks absolutely ridiculous. That's I assume the big like aha moment for people with next gen is that moment specifically.
It's insane. I will say it's weird to play the parts where you and Seika are fighting together, because it almost makes me think obviously the game must have been designed that way, because there's weird times where the enemies are like getting pulled to her more because she's attacking and you're dragging them back and forth. The combat makes way more sense with 2 combatants on the field. It's making me think like, oh yeah, it's a weird thing where the DLC kind of completes it. And I've seen some people sort of complaining about that. The 2 major complaints I've seen people say is there's not enough side quests. It is weird this DLC is $20, and a lot of it is kind of just the 5 hours of main story and a couple side activities, and then you leave. And the other thing I have seen some people saying is that I don't know, it's that as graphical as it is, that is a pretty high price tag.
They'll do a complete edition, I'm sure, at some point. You know, they'll release it again, and they'll continue that on. But
PlayStation Plus.
I mean, I liked the Ghost of Tsushima DLC. I'm liking this DLC, so I don't know. I feel like it's been all right for the price that I paid for it so far. But I also have to get to the end of it and see how much time spent in it, and if the ending is as good as people are saying online right now with it. So, but I like it so far. I think I'm like through 2.5 hours played in the DLC specifically. I just spend an hour and a half just playing Horizon Forbidden West just to get used to it again. That the controls are not as pick up and play intuitive as I'd like them to be, I guess. That's always been my issue with Horizon in general, is they try to do a lot of stuff in that game, like just a lot. Yeah. And sometimes it can be to its detriment, especially if you're away from it for a long time. But I started to get used to it again, and it's been clicking a bit more.
Before the DLC came out, I spent a day just practicing it because it took the fact that you have all your quick equip weapons, and I had to go through my own talent tree and figure out like what was I trying to do with my character.
Dude, the nice thing about the DLC is they understand you've beaten the game, so when you go to the DLC immediately, one of the first robots I come across is a Tide Ripper, just in like this area where I guess it was a lake and it was drained, or it was up on the beach. And it's just this massive thing there. So that was kind of neat, because that's something you wouldn't get to until later on in the game. And there was an early quest where you have to dive, and there's a lot of diving in the water. So I understand why they added in that accessibility around people's fears of going deep into the water where it's darker. Because there is one early on where I was like, oh, okay, this does feel kind of concerning. Like, because you have to dive down, and there's, we'll say, a large monster in the water.
Can't fight. There's a bunch
you
of
can't fight,
in the water,
and it's a little like, okay,
oh my god,
yeah, this is a little okay. I kind of see why that's in there now, but I like what I've seen so far, and I'll continue to play it. I'll finish it up this week, but good stuff there. And yeah, this I think is up there for visuals, the best visuals I've seen on a console so far at all. So this is, even in performance mode, running at 60, it's pretty good.
It's insane. I only kept it on the 60 frames a second mode. It's crazy. I didn't have a single frame drop. I mean, it's so buttery smooth. It's so gorgeous. The new environments and stuff. Solid 60 the whole time, which it's weird that not a lot of games are doing that.
Evan, we have a Discord question over there.
We kind of touched on this back with Jeff Grubb, but maybe we can fill in any like little mini blanks. How do you think the move away from box products towards services, subscriptions, and streaming has affected the entertainment industry at large?
Benji Sales had a viral tweet this week that I mentioned in a video that I thought was interesting, which is that it feels like, I wish Fringe would come back for this, but Hollywood tried to go deep into streaming services, and the music industry tried to go deep into streaming services, and they saw like the pay to artists go off a freaking cliff. And I'm kind of curious if we're going to start to see that here in the next 2 years or something real short. I'm kind of curious, is PlayStation now, how much is PlayStation Plus Premium really making Sony? How much is Game Pass actually giving to these developers? I don't know. It seems like the experiment is not really going good to any part of the industry.
Well, I can tell you this: there are games that just aren't even coming to physical box sales anymore. Like Ghostwire Tokyo on the Xbox, they didn't even put that out in stores. Hi-Fi Rush, nothing for that. Which is, I would have been interested in buying a physical copy of Hi-Fi Rush.
I would have bought a physical copy of Hi-Fi Rush. I really want one. You know,
so I would like to see them do that, but odds are they're going to release it and it'll be a code in a box, and I'll be like, all right, fine. But you know what's interesting is we're already seeing games be too large for the disc, and the disc holds 100 gigabytes. Jedi Survivor out next week. You have to download part of the game, like even though it's because the game is 150 gigabytes. So it is getting to that point where people where even they're like, well, what's the point? We'll just make them download it. So once you move away from box copies, it's over. That's a wrap.
I saw that.
General though, like releasing physical for games, unless you're like a huge AAA company that has like tons of capital to afford that, is so expensive, especially with a simul launch and getting into big box stores, so it not being like a small time release. Especially also with the pandemic. I know that like, you know, supply chain has always been holding on with a thread, but like especially now that the resources are limited. But I actually really think the point that you hit on, that games are getting too big to fit on the discs or cartridges moving forward to a next generation, unless they come up with a new type of strategy or medium to publish games on. I don't think we're going to end up keeping a full physical release without digital. Yeah,
because we see it with this 100 gigabyte disc for PlayStation and Xbox, and even like Nintendo's been dealing with it for a long time, their cartridge. And I mean, we go to the next system. I assume if they stick with cartridges, the games aren't getting smaller; they're just going to get bigger. So I'll be curious to see how they deal with that as well, because Tears of the Kingdom is 70, and a lot of people are speculating it's because the game's not going to fit on a 16 gigabyte cartridge. So it's it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. But are we going to get to a point where there's 200 gigabyte games, 250 gigabyte games? Probably, like just outright.
Yep.
Aren't we already there?
I mean, like out of right away, version 1.0, it's 200 gigabytes. That's gonna
probably if Jedi Survivor is 100.
Everyone's like, I'm confused. I'm like, why is this thing 150 gigabytes? Maybe the game's really that big. Maybe it's a lot of uncompressed audio. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, seems like there's a lot of dialogue in that game. Maybe
I could see that. Yeah.
I guess I feel bad because occasionally I'll talk to people that live in like the swamps of Louisiana or whatever, and they don't have the best internet. They have like one up, one down. They're not really dealing with a lot, and it's enough for them to watch YouTube videos and download little updates. But if it's like, hey, here's your 160 gig download, it's like, okay, well then you're going to start that download and play it in 2 days.
Well, there's also places
net zero.
There's also places in the world.
When I was living on that farm for a bit last year, I had to get an office in town. I had to drive 30 minutes into town, and I'd work on videos for a couple hours, and then I would come back home and actually play games and go back and forth.
There's also the places that have really low data caps. That just
Yeah, another. Oh, go ahead, Celia.
Oh no, that really explains why like the retro gaming community is like really huge in like a lot of like rural areas. I used to work for a company called Hyperkin. They make a lot of retro stuff, and a lot of like the bread and butter, like the business, would be from like rural areas that just want to play their old games. And that does explain it, because I didn't think about internet, that they can't download it, so it's unplayable.
Yeah, old days just pop in the cartridge or disc in and it just worked.
Yeah, John and I used to have people come to our store with their consoles to get the updates, because they had to get the update.
The Xbox One needed an update out of the box or it didn't function.
Yep.
Do you think your store would end up on like Review Tech USA's?
No, we didn't ship stuff. They'd have to come to our store.
Now it's Lukey Games, so I feel like they're just running through retro game shops.
You think he's just looking for him now at this point? He's just
we didn't ship stuff out though. They'd have to actually show up in person. We'd recognize them. We'd see him coming.
He walks in with a big fake mask. Oh, it is me, Richard. Not Review Tech.
I've never ordered anything for Lukey Games, so I don't know.
I think I did.
I have. I've had a good experience with them.
I've never even heard of them.
Okay. There you go.
What was the digital question?
It's about subscriptions.
Yeah, that is the entertainment business moving away from. Is this going to harm the industry? How's the industry dealing with this big push towards subscription services?
I think. Well, I mean, even like Blu-rays are starting to become popular again. Like
there
the 4K
is an
stuff.
uptick. There is an uptick with physical media that way, which is nice to see. And some of the bigger companies, are helping, put out more stuff for people that way, which is nice on both ends. But in terms of anything digital, while there is a giant convenience level, and it's nice to load up a Netflix or a Game Pass and be like, okay, I pay this one price and it's convenient and it's to your budget. There's also a cheapening effect to things because things matter less to you. So it's easy. It's disposable at that point. Oh, I don't like this movie. I could stop 20 minutes in. I don't like this game. I could just delete it, download another one. It devalues entertainment because you just lose that. There's a difference if, okay, I paid $5 to see this specifically versus, I paid $10 and I get carte blanche to all this. And so it doesn't matter. You have a personal different attachment to it. I'd feel more if I paid $70 for a game. You damn sure I'm going to try and get $70 worth out of that game. It's okay. I paid for this. I want to play it. I want to have a good time. Or even if I'm not liking it, you try to justify some reason of, okay, I paid $70 for this. I got to find something. But if I just download a game off Game Pass, 5 minutes in, if it doesn't click for me, it's like, oh, okay, whatever. No, there's no attachment. It's not that it's a good or bad thing. It just, that's how general, you can kind of feel with stuff like that.
I hope the push towards physical medium keeps on going, not just with video games, but CDs as well. I was so mad when my car didn't have a CD player.
For right now, it's a vinyl. Vinyl sales spiked pretty heavily the past couple of years.
That's just weird hipster bullshit. It sounds better. Doesn't, you fucking idiot.
It can if it's pressed right, but not always.
What is Sean talking about? What is he upset?
I don't know.
Vinyl people.
I'm not sure if it's real. Maybe y'all have heard this, but I heard the last fiscal year, physical media, physical game media outsold digital again. I don't know how true that is, but I saw people talking about it on Twitter.
I'm going to look on that. But
yeah,
Jordan,
that's my name.
What game you looking forward to next?
I guess next is Star Wars.
There it is. Okay, so guess what?
You it's 150 gigs. I heard.
150 gigs. Guess what? Guess what? You buying it physically?
I would like to buy it physically, but I know it's not all on the disc.
The entire game is not on that disc.
How much is on the disc?
They're probably going to give you 71 megabytes, enough for a launcher.
What was the last game that just did that? That was a big
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty. That's so dumb. That's so dumb. I mean, I get it, but
it's going to do that again?
I have no idea. I mean, maybe it installs 80 and they're like, oh, you got to download the next 70. I'm not sure. I mean, hey, I'll find out. There you go. I'll find out.
We'll find out here. I was going to just get the physical through Amazon, but they're like, we'll get it to you 5 days after the release. How's that sound? It's like, not if I'm pre-ordering it. That's not how that works. If I pre-order it, it better be there day one. So I'm going to go out and try and find it because I don't want to just get it digital.
This from Zub says, always nice to see some gender diversity on the podcast. Jenna says, it's funny people complain about $70 games, but don't realize back in the SNES games, you had to pay more than $70 for each update. Street Fighter 2 days. Yeah, Capcom's been pulling this for a long time. People don't realize it.
You can even go further back than that, like Phantasy Star. Back in the day, there was, I think, one of them was like $90. I think Phantasy Star 2 or something like that, because it was like on this massive cartridge, back in the day. So
that was because the that was a necessity.
Yeah, we got the
cartridge size. Yeah. The expensive nature of the game, how big the game was. So I'm just saying, like, there was times where it was like there's some crazy price. I think Chrono Trigger was like $70. Yeah,
it was 85 and some of the screenshots I've seen.
How much was Earthbound? Was Earthbound more than usual?
Earthbound, the big box set and everything. Yeah. I think that was. I feel like that was borderline $100.
Yeah, I know Earthbound was more expensive. So
this is from Butt, who says, I unsubscribed from RGT and my life has improved dramatically in the last 5 minutes.
I hope all your appliances stop working.
All of them?
All of them.
Wow. What about my pacemaker?
Matthew says we need Spawn on the VG Jeopardy with Jeff and Mike. Always happy to go on there and potentially embarrass myself. Corp says, why does that guy with the red shirt look like Zach Galifianakis?
That was Jeff.
Okay.
Sure.
Vampire says, I had Game Pass PC and they never had any games I wanted to play that I didn't already own. I cannot justify subscription price if they don't have stuff I'm interested in. Michael says, why do you think Square made the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster release so limited physically? Do you think they'll release again later or on the new Switch or PS5?
I didn't think it was going to sell.
Yeah. And RGT is exactly right. I think it's something where even though people have been demanding this specifically forever and ever and ever, maybe it's that it didn't explode on Steam and they weren't sure how big it would be on console. So I wish that they had done a bigger pre-order batch. That's my biggest thing is I feel bad that everybody who even wanted it 3 months ago when the pre-orders happened, even 80% of those people couldn't get it. It's stupid.
Let's move over to, let's talk about Dead Island 2 for a minute here. I got a chance to play a couple hours of it. Max, you played through, you did a review on it even.
I beat it. Yeah, I put 22 hours into it.
Good. Did anyone else get a chance to play?
I got a chance to watch Max's review. That's what I did.
No, I'm probably gonna pick it up.
I'll get it when it's on.
It's my kind of game, I think.
I think you're gonna like it, MBG, because you and I we'll play those Far Cry games, and I think you'd like this. It's closed off. It's not as big as Far Cry. Has that same kind of appeal to it. I think. But I did get, I think, a little over 4 hours actually into it. I picked it up the day it came out, and then I could play it the next day. So I'll play it more as we go along here. But I'll switch between that and a bunch of other stuff. So I've enjoyed my time with it as far as because you pick a character in the beginning, and then you kind of go through their storyline. Do you know, Max, if it changes between characters?
Just their voices, their dialogue. Okay. That's why if you notice that people kind of react the same no matter what, like you'll say the most outlandish, like I'm going to pee in your boots, and they'll just be like, haha, anyways, so it doesn't really change anything.
Okay. So one, I'm surprised at how this looks visually. I thought it was going to look worse. It looks better than I thought it would. And a lot of this has to do with the troubled development that they've had. I mean, think about this thing when was the first trailer? 2014?
2013. Oh yeah, 2014. So you're right, 2014.
But it's been in development for 10 years easily, like technically, so it's been a while. I wasn't expecting a lot out of this game necessarily. And as soon as you get into it and you start swinging, they give you like a pipe basically, because the airplane crashes, you pick who you want to play as, and you go from there. And as soon as you get they give you like a pipe or a machete or something, you hit one of those zombies with it, it has real impact to it. You actually like hit them upside the head, they go flying. And I kind of got a little nostalgia for Condemned from that.
Oh yeah.
You first hit him across the face in front of, like outside that plane when it's got like it's like nighttime, you have like that flare, and you hit him and the zombie goes flying. A little bit of Condemned in there. But then you end up fighting like 18 zombies at once and that goes away.
Well, this has the most realistic gore, and I mean actually realistic gore I've ever seen. Later in the game, you start to get the ability, you get long-range weapons and the ability to throw throwing stars and stuff that are just like huge. So I did
throw a throwing star at one of them, hit him right in the chest, and they did the thing where they went backwards, hit the wall, and then they busted into two pieces.
Oh yeah, you can chop off limbs. I've seen such crazy variation.
So the idea here is it's called the flesh system, and the idea is it will procedurally break limbs, tendons, flesh, and organs as you hit them.
Sounds like a good nightclub name.
All of that stuff is detected as you hit them, and it depends on what you hit them with. So I had like a golf club. There's a quest that I did early on, and they give a golf club, and you hit them with the blunt side of it, and it'll actually cave their head in. But if you I got a claymore, like this massive like sword, swing at it and actually slice them into pieces. So it will detect where I hit him in the leg, and their leg cut in half, they fell over and they try to crawl at you. So it is like that Dawn of the Dead kind of feel there, where they'll just keep coming after you, but they give you some of the weirdest weapons. You modify them. So I put electricity on my sword.
I got a knife. I had a really high level knife at one point. So I put a tiny flamethrower on it. So the flamethrower switch, like the trigger to the mini flamethrower was on the handle. So when I stabbed into people, it would also flamethrow them.
Yes.
And depending on how much you are running, I'd stab them different. So sometimes I'd stab downward to their chest. Sometimes I'd do a slash and chop a limb off. And it was crazy to see how it would actually process and create a different injury depending on how you hit them.
Yeah. And so far, from what I've seen, they have characters in there, and they're trying to play up to more the humor, over the top bombastic nature of there being a zombie apocalypse. Like the one character is like, I've been through 3 of these so far. It's not a big deal. It's like, oh, okay. So And early on, they have you go through a house. So basically, the way that the spaces work so far is they're closed off areas that you basically teleport to. And they have set paths that you go through, and then you open up doors that are behind you that then create a shortcut, that sort of thing. One of the houses you go through is a YouTuber's house.
Yeah,
which was actually pretty good. Like I was getting a kick out of it because I was like, oh, yeah, I know what that. Okay, yeah. But then you go through in the living room. What's in the living room, Max?
There's a scripted apology. There is a thing where it seems like the guy made a YouTube video. Like you can tell by context clues, he made a YouTube video being like, "There's not a zombie apocalypse. That's stupid." And so he was making a video being like, "Hey guys, I'm super sorry that I said that zombie apocalypse isn't real." Says deep breath, fake tears here. And he's like,
pause for crying.
Scripted. Yeah. Oh my god. Did you go around that house in that streamer's mansion? Apparently his name was the Goat, and so he called his house the Goat Pin. And if you actually find the key, if you find his like servant and kill him, you can get a key and find an actual goat pin, and it has a bunch of really good weapons outside. I don't know.
I didn't see that. I didn't do all that. No, I was just going through because I was trying to mainline the story that I was going to play through to get another one. So the way that they work with levels, you do level up at the game, you get experience, you find stuff everywhere. So you're just constantly looting stuff to upgrade your weapons. But when you level up, you unlock parts like these cards almost that will then open up slots you put them into, and all it does is modify and make you stronger or take away certain things, but then give you this ability. Like you might hit harder, or when you do hit, you'll regain health, or if you dodge perfectly, you'll get extra force on your next hit, those sorts of things. So it's not necessarily any kind of standard skill or attribute tree, but it kind of streamlines it a bit. So
Can I tell you something crazy about that? Happens in the skill tree later. Later in the skill tree, you start to get zombie cards. So you can choose to take away, like, one of your main skills is the ability to, like, if you dodge somebody, you get a tiny burst of damage. So I'll do like dodge hits. You can choose to replace cards with, like, now you don't regenerate health at all, but you just do a flat 20% more damage. Or when you go fury mode, which is like your like limit break, you can make it where you can stay in fury mode for as long as you want, but it'll actually consume health instead of your fury meter and stuff like that. But then you can also get zombie talent points that make it where you get healed by being in fury mode. So there's like, my biggest problem with this game, and it's fun, but it's also not fun, is that they give you the best stuff like 10 hours into it. You don't even unlock fast travel for a big chunk of the game. You don't unlock guns for the big part of the game. I kind of wish that they would front load the fun more. Like, I was really deep into the game and unlocking new stuff that was great, but I was like, man, why the hell didn't I have this at the start? It would have been more fun at the start.
I'm enjoying it. It feels very much like a game from the Xbox 360 and PS3 generation, which is in a good way. So it is 70. I get it. It is one of those things where it's like there's a lot of games coming out, but I think it's definitely worth, if you're like hesitant on it, a good pickup on discount, if that's the case.
It's definitely, it's way funnier than I thought it was going to be. Like, since it's in LA, it's like making fun of Hollywood culture a lot.
Yeah, it is.
There's times where almost every side quest is just finding people that are stranded in their mega mansion and like killing zombies and saving them. But the dialogue and situations are different. There's like a Burt Reynolds style guy who's like, Sonny, I got up here and I made myself an electric wheelchair that carried me down the stairs, but I'm a strong man, so I refuse to use it. But I guess desperate times, do me a favor, start it up. So you have to like go downstairs and hack his like power back on so he can get in the chair and then fight off waves of zombies while he just sits there and goes, "You're doing great, Sonny." It's like, it's actually legitimately funny.
Yeah, then then they make you stand there and wait and watch him slowly decline down the stairwell.
I'm doing a horrible job of selling this game. I'm just saying that right now. This game
I can't believe y'all are still fucking talking about it. Like, this is the
I
whole
watched Max's review and I get it, but you guys are doing it. I'm just saying, y'all ain't doing a good job. I'm about to fall asleep.
That's a question about the game. So if it's LA based, is it like all of LA? Is it like, do they have actual?
You do.
Is it like living there?
It's just the valley.
Well,
it's just the valley.
I don't know.
Start out in Beverly Hills, and as Spawn was saying, it's broken down into these big chunks of map, and you'll like go to a subway grade or something to teleport to the next area. So you will go to like Venice Beach, and you go to the malls, and like you do. You go through big movie studios, so you're fighting zombies that are dressed as like.
So you're in Burbank, okay?
Yeah, so you.
I'm from the valley, so that's why I was like, hold on.
I should have just hit it with a nuke. like at the start of the game. It's in California, just nuke it, and then
is there a lot of like random like karate tournaments in the valley for you? You'd say there's just a bunch of like kids just fighting for some reason all the time.
Are there people shitting on the sidewalk? That happens.
LA.
Right.
I feel like in the early 2000s there was a lot of karate places, but I haven't seen that many now.
Oh, okay. It's been flaring up. I've been seeing the last few years. A lot of it in Karate Wars.
Nice.
Yeah, Cobra Kai's winning.
Hey, Dead Island 2. Dead Island 2 is a fun game. MVG, you should check it out. I think you'll like it.
Yep, I will check it out.
I get a 7.5 out of 10. It definitely has that Far Cry.
That sounds about
vibe.
right. Yeah, like a 7 to 8 somewhere in there. That sounds fun. That sounds about right. Let's see, Evan. We have Discord questions left.
Yeah, still got 4 left.
Okay.
Favorite game or franchise that has the worst censorship?
Game or franchise with the worst censorship?
I can't think.
I mean, early on it would have been Mortal Kombat, right? Back when they kind of censored the blood.
Well, they made you
across,
punch
like,
sweat out of the person.
way back. But, like, it's gotten.
They got rid of the blood, and then your fatality was just uppercutting them.
Look, there's something obvious,
bad.
and I can't think of it right now.
I really like classic World of Warcraft, and if you ever want a good laugh, Google Chinese World of Warcraft. In China, they're weird about skull and bones, and there's
undead.
There's huge chunks of the undead, so they edited out all their bones, so they just like really white people, and all the skeletons and piles of meat and dead bodies on the ground, they turned into piles of bread. So you'll be walking through like a necropolis with necromancers, and there's piles of bread. So in the game, people always make the joke of like, "Bro, I'm about to turn you into a pile of bread right now."
Yeah, but you look at international censorship like that, it's always fun. I think it was Left 4 Dead in Australia. If you threw a grenade, all the zombies that got hit with it would just vanish.
They just disappeared. Yeah, I remember that one.
Always picking on Australia.
Grenade. I mean, you're here now, right? It's fine.
Give another one, Evan.
Thoughts on Path Tracer on Cyberpunk? Seems to be the first game that have made people care about ray tracing.
Yeah, because it looks just like discernibly different. Like you look at it, you go, okay, that actually adds something to it for the visual effects. My problem is the performance hit. I just don't know if it's worth it for a lot of people still, because they're like, this runs great on a 4090 Ti. It's like, oh, okay.
Without trying to come across too negative, I've tried playing Cyberpunk 3 times. And it's just not a good game.
No, it's not.
Like, I can't get into it. I can't get into it.
Whoa.
I played it recently as well, and no.
Whoa. That's a big statement.
Still don't like Cyberpunk, man.
Not into it.
Well, the technology
is more like an Old West type of guy to me.
They've been, or at least NVIDIA has been heavily improving their path tracing, ray tracing quite a bit. But I think it's not going to be anything that I think takes off on these consoles currently in terms of ray tracing. So I feel like that might be next gen, which is unfortunate because they made a big push for ray tracing this gen. You have another Discord, Evan?
Are you all setting a soft deadline for how quickly you'll want to finish Tears of the Kingdom, or instead will you take your time playing through it?
I'm gonna blast that bitch.
I don't set deadlines when I play games for the most part. I just play.
Neither do I, but I'll install a game and then 10 hours later I've beaten it and forgot to go to sleep. So.
Well, yeah, I'm not beating Tears in 10 hours though. The first one, it took me 200
Why not?
hours.
Just run straight to the boss.
But other people have beaten it in like an hour.
You can beat Breath of Wild pretty quick. Yeah,
that's people who saw other people do it after they and
someone
said,
had to do it first though.
Most people put hella hours.
I don't know. Well, we still don't even know the structure of the game or the other divine beasts you go to. Is there, how many are there? Like that could also work into how long it'll take. But
yeah, I don't know if you can run straight to there, because they said that you start out in the clouds, like you start out there. So I don't think you probably won't even be able to just go like straight to somewhere at the beginning like that.
Sounds like Skyward Sword all over again.
I hope we get temples. Like I really want temples.
Yeah, I do too. That's gonna be an interesting thing to figure out in an open world like that. I mean, if it gets to the point where I know I can go beat the game and I'm like 40 hours in, I'll probably just go beat the game and then reload an older save and just keep playing it then. So I don't want to spend too long with it, because you know that ending is gonna get spoiled up like all over the place. So I'd rather get to the end and get it done. But
Mm-hmm. Go, Link, you were the Zelda all along.
Yeah. This really was the Tears of the Kingdom.
Yep.
And then
you have another one, Evan?
Last one. Minecraft Legends is a $40 standard, $50 deluxe game, yet it also comes with cosmetic microtransactions. Is this acceptable even if it is on Game Pass?
And that's just what I feel like that's what they've been doing for a while now. We get microtransactions in a lot of these games now. I kind of feel like people have just been worn down to where it's like, all right, whatever. Resident Evil 4 added them in later. People, okay.
Who got mad at me for calling them out?
That's just kind of how it is now. People have just it's worn down to where people have just, I don't know, grown tired of the conversation. I'm not sure, but cosmetic stuff is one that people definitely look past now. So just kind of the way it is now. Was that the last one, Evan?
Yep, we're good.
That's not true. I believe there was one more
in Discord.
Yeah,
he missed the cutoff. You can't take it.
Oh, you put one in.
No, he missed the cutoff.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. It wasn't necessarily me, but I looked in there before because I thought maybe we had a new.
Go ahead and ask the question.
Yeah. Okay. Why does John suck so much?
Because Sean missed the cutoff. That's why. Okay.
No, we know.
He's just mad because Pass Me ratioed him on Twitter presently.
Oh, you used my joke against me. That doesn't work.
That makes it more brutal, not less brutal. I don't know if you understood that.
I would just delete my Twitter after that.
Yeah.
Look, we're on Super Chat. Spyro says, did anyone play Crash Team Rumble? It's fun, but it seems like a game that will be lost in live service obscurity. Just give us Spyro 4. Anyone play it?
I did play it, and I was going to make a video, but honestly, I didn't really like it that much. I like Toys for Bob. It's weird. You collect Wampa fruit, and there's like a bank, and there's a system where there's like these big gyms, so you can like step on them, and it gives you a bonus. So like if you can carry 150 fruit at a time, and the goal is to get to 2,000. It's weird. I didn't think it was very well balanced. There's characters that are chasers and blockers. So somebody like Dingo Dial can just stand in the middle of the field and bap you across the field. I don't know. I don't think that game's going to really find an audience, but we'll see.
I love Toys for Bob as well. Very much so. I would really like what the last part of that statement said. Spyro 4.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
David says, Wandering Dutch had an indie showcase today for 2 hours. Trip and Fall says, question for OJ, which system sold more units, the N64 or the GameCube?
N64. So?
Star says, favorite N64 game, mine's Rocket Robot on Wheels.
The fuck is wrong with you?
Chameleon Twist 1 and 2.
Who the fuck would pick that game? What is wrong with you?
Banjo-Kazooie.
Banjo-Kazooie, there it is.
Ocarina.
I'm going to go with Ocarina as well. Or maybe Majora. I'll go Majora's Mask.
Yeah, that's my second choice. So
that's an N64 game?
Yep. That's an N64 game.
Metroid 64.
All right, there we go.
That means nothing.
Fire Emblem 64.
Jose, what do you think? Nobody cared about Fire Emblem back then. Nobody cared. Japan cared.
Maybe nobody cared because they didn't release it in America.
Exactly. And when it first came out on Game Boy Advance, Advance Wars was more popular. It was just that they kept releasing Fire Emblems, and Fire Emblems ended up becoming more popular.
It eventually had to get really big on the cell phone to really blow up.
And I mean, then we never got Chameleon Twist.
Actually, they released it. Marth and Roy were in Smash Brothers, and that's what got people excited. And then I'm just saying, that's what got people excited first, was their Smash Brothers debut. But okay.
That ended up being the marketing for it. So yeah.
Chameleon Twist 3 for GameCube would have been great, that's all I'm saying.
MTS asks, RGT, are you listening to the Carbon Engine podcast?
I would never listen to anything. Is that a thing?
Oh, no.
I listened to it. I'll be honest, I did not understand it.
Wait, that's a thing?
Yeah, well, it's about their new game, which is a game I've never heard about. And they have
Squirt or Tingle. What the fuck is it called? Trip?
Wow.
They brought a guy, like, he's the guy who made music, and it has a this dude just.
RGT was reading his search history. That was his search history.
Oh man, Sean's just laughing quietly.
He's like, "Oh, wait, hold up, no, what's the game?"
Ash asks, "Do you 100% any games? I love 100%ing my Zelda games."
I 100% stuff. Yeah, I'm currently 100% all the Pixel remasters. I'm doing it. I just 100%ed Pixel Remaster 1, and now I'm halfway through 100%ing Pixel Remaster 6.
I feel like I have to really like the game because, like, when I was younger, I used to have a rule. Since I would get like 3 games a year, I'd be like, okay, like I have to beat it from top to bottom, and then I can get a new game. But I feel like now, since I'm getting old, I have to like pick and choose what I want to do, just because there aren't enough hours in the day.
About Josie, you 100%ing anything over there?
100%. I've only ever really like 100%ed 2 games, and that was Shredder's Revenge. Because I had a lot of fun with it, and then I 100%ed Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze because it like wasn't too much of a daunting task. But I don't really do it. I feel like that's a lot of time to invest in one game that I don't.
You find all those Korok seeds in Zelda?
Absolutely not.
my rule typically is under 30 hours. If it takes under 30 hours, I can knock it out. But if it's like one of those 200-hour ones, I don't give a shit.
Roger says, talking about Nintendo YouTubers, any hot takes on Point Crow? The Nintendo podcast has great interview with him. RGT, my favorite Nintendo YouTuber.
Oh, you have hot takes on him.
I think I make a cameo on an upcoming Nintendo podcast because Wood called me and recorded a conversation for it.
Wow.
I watched that Nintendo podcast with Point Crow. I didn't know the situation until I watched that. It's crazy. I mean, he's a huge channel, and they just took down all the stuff.
Yeah, sounds like Nintendo and mods. MVG knows. They're very aggressive with that stuff. That's for sure. They don't mess around. They strike first, ask questions later. So
it was weird how targeted the whole thing was, though. It was just like completely targeting him.
Well, they probably
that's the Nintendo way.
They did probably hit other people. Yeah, they did probably hit other people though that you don't know about just because they don't have as much presence.
They hit someone who also apparently they were just doing challenges. Like, I'm going to try to do this in the game, and that's kind of it. It had nothing to do with mods. I don't know if it was still struck the whole time, but
that's the dookie thing about it. Is like when nobody is actually doing, like, it's just regular Let's Play, or it's just like regular the game, and man, those videos get hit too. Because I remember before, back in the day, man, like we had to fight just to be able to like monetize like regularly back, before.
The creators program.
Yeah, like they had that creator. Even before that, like it would just like monetize. Like when the Switch first launched, you couldn't just do stuff, and it took a lot of convincing to be able to even get it to the point to where it is now. You know what I'm saying? Like it took a lot of people saying, "Hey, like no, like it's okay to get this. Like this will actually be beneficial." So
the only time that it should be legally acceptable, like under the law, for Nintendo to do something like this, because this doesn't fall under ruining their copyright. Once the game is in the gamer's hands, you can play, mess around, do whatever you want. That's your content. That's your personal whatever you can do. You're controlling it, right? Same thing with mods. If you're selling mods and you don't work with the company, that's where they can come after you. That's an easy target for them to come after you. And who was it, Bethesda, that worked with creators to then sell mods? Yeah. Like that's one way the company was, would allow them, but like this is bullshit. This is I don't know legal. This just shows a problem with YouTube more so than Nintendo, because I mean Nintendo sucks and they're gonna do shit like this every now and then, but the copyright system, this should not allow for this. There should be a better fight, and YouTube should not just go, you know what, it's between you two.
The YouTube thing is the YouTube side is annoying.
Yeah, it's the YouTube. It's a problem. It should have protected him and anyone who is taught by that, because it's just gameplay, and he's not selling the mods. He was just playing the games. It goes for any of them. Wood's done it too. It's BS.
Well, it's weird when because I had a video taken down last year by Sony. I was talking about the fact that God of War Ragnarok leaked, and Sony took my video down, and I talked to him and said, did you actually watch it? And they went, no, and they reinstated it. But YouTube just sides with them. They said like, hey, we think possibly this is copyright, and they deleted my shit. It was so bizarre.
When it comes to the big companies, they rarely ever protect. Like I know they protected Sean one time, but for the most part, they will. If it's a big corporation coming to attack someone on YouTube, they just step away. Usually, if it's creator versus creator stuff, they kind of saying they'll jump in there because they'll play their role in that. But when Sony, Nintendo come on to YouTube and they're claiming stuff, it's like a 1 out of 100 shot that YouTube will actually be like, hey, actually, no, that's fine.
Cody says, did you see Arlo's new video where he speculates that Metroid Prime 4 is probably most likely coming out on the next Switch? Thoughts?
Wow.
Yeah.
I think it's coming out on this Switch, but then it'll probably also release on the next Switch with a patch. Or
why do we have to watch an Arlo video to have to? Never mind.
Massive
Why
says.
do we have to watch an Arlo video to speculate? Like, did you see his video where he we all speculated about that before. That's not anything to. All right, I'll just stop. Sorry.
Sounds like Burning Shores fixes OJ's complaints. I think it helps, but the problem I think we would run into is you need to beat Forbidden West to then go to Burning Shores, so you'd have to go through all the stuff that maybe you didn't like to then get to the part he does.
No, it doesn't completely fix my issues with open world games, but yeah, it's all good. But yeah, at least to add somebody.
Jake says, how do you all feel about the trend of PlayStation games where the main character seemingly teases the passing of torch? God of War, Last of Us, Spider-Man, New Horizon. Love the podcast.
Well, Spider-Man doesn't. But
yeah. Well, they had the Miles Morales. Looks like the next one obviously going to have them working together. But we'll see what happens in the next one.
I don't know. I kind of like that. I like that. I don't know. Fucking Sega or Sony games. I like that a lot of these Sony big AAA first party things have a kind of ongoing. Each game builds upon each other. Like the rumors of the next Uncharted being about his daughter or something. I don't know.
Peeps says, with the release of Final Fantasy Pixel Perfect Collection, do you think Square will remaster Final Fantasy 13 the same with Final Fantasy 11, but with an offline mode like Dragon Quest 10? I think FF11 will just remain where it is and eventually go away. But 13 remastered, I don't know. They kind of had it on the Xbox. Well, it kind of exists on the Series X as it is. They have like auto HDR and everything on that. Joe says, why is the Japanese version of Tears of the Kingdom only 16 gigabytes? I don't know. Maybe it just does not have all the languages on it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, there could be. They left out some languages, but the US version, at least right now, is 18.2.
Yeah.
So
this is from Game Says. Okay. Wow. Celia's here. Josie's here. And then they say, how I wish they will make another parody of Spawncast beating up Sean with TJE Trace Amigos. There you go, Sean.
What?
Exactly. Reese says, thank you all for the hours and hours of entertainment. Watch you all daily. Quick question. I grew up playing Banjo-Tooie with my dad who passed, and I still play it all the time. Do any of you have a game that's more than just a game to you?
Fire the Dragon.
The only game my father has ever played was Tekken Tag Tournament. He'd play Gunjack and just smash his whole hand on the controller, and Gunjack would just flail around. And every time I play Tekken Tag Tournament, I think of my dad just smash a controller. So I'm like, hell yeah, bitch.
Yeah, I have that with the Uncharted series. Sorry.
That's fine. For me, it's not like a particular game, but it's like a set of games. Like all my original Nintendo 64 games, my grandpa label makered them, so it says the name of the game on top because he got really annoyed at me like pulling out every one of them. And so like, it's been like a really long time since he's passed. But whenever I see that, I think of him.
No attachments. They make you weak.
Josie, why the Uncharted games?
I used to play them a lot with my brother, and he would just like play the whole thing, and then I'd sit there and help him solve the puzzles. So I guess I just have like really fond memories. And now we're both like, I'm at college, he's in college, so it's like nice little memory.
Okay. Then we have Lino says, anyone else have issues with their PS5 shuts off during PS5 games? I do not. That might be your PS5 overheating.
Yeah, that sounds like an overheating issue.
Let's see. Qbert says the Qbert fandom does not accept RGT.
Well, RGT does not accept the Qbert fandom.
Ray says, is it like the new feud for the year? Okay. Ray says, upgraded the Series S, wanted an X, yet COD, Redfall, Starfield, these aren't selling me. Game Pass for Persona and smaller games like AI Initiative. Outlaw says, thoughts on the new unrecorded Unreal Engine 5 game trailer? I think it looks almost a little too good to be real, but hey, they seem pretty set on doing it. So also, I wonder if body cam perspective will be the new trend going forward.
I hope not.
Yeah, I think I like the idea of it, but I get motion sickness easy.
Oh yeah, that's gonna get people motion sick.
Something about the way that the super, I think it's overly realistic in a way. That trips out my brain.
I got to see that control scheme. The idea of, because it looks like you're aiming in VR with the whole moving, but it's not. Somehow that aiming just happens that way. It's weird.
Thinkers and movers. No message there. Thanks, Thinkers. Denizen says, Some kids dad if you 100% your grades as much as those games. I'm gonna run into that someday. I already know it. That'll be fun. And then John O coming in with the big super chat said, "Glad I caught you all. Hope you had a great week and enjoy the weekend." Shout out to John O.
Shout out John O.
We are running up against Sean's after show time, so I do want to go around and do outro. There will be an after show on Sean's channel. I do want to do some outros here, and I'll check Streamlabs as we go. Sean, where can everyone find you? You want to let them know about that? Because you're going to go off, I assume, and prepare it. Go ahead.
Yeah, you can find me on RGT85, where unlike someone else uploading a clickbait video today, I did an actual real video showing off some USB N64 or Nintendo related controllers, tap and stance that they were Nintendo related. And then tomorrow we have, I think it's my longest video ever going up.
15 minutes long?
36.
Oh,
wow.
Showing off what I kept in my video game collection. And if it had a story, I told the story. So lots of fun stuff in there. Brett, I'm sure, had a fucking amazing time editing that video. Get my money's worth out of that cunt. But yeah, that's what I got going on. So go, and then the after show. Yeah.
Okay, go set up your after show. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. JJ says, hey guys, considering how Nintendo publishes about a dozen games a year, how do you think they should handle developing games in 4K or close to it when they eventually release Switch successor?
They're going to develop 4K.
No, they'll move to they'll still do like the smaller titles as well, which probably helps them fill in any gaps. Like you won't have a Zelda every year like Tears of the Kingdom, but
okay, wait a second. How does everyone hold an N64 controller? Because evidently this
is dude, I saw that video. I didn't want to bring it up because that was rough.
What? I don't understand. I don't have big hands.
Josie's probably laughing at you too right now. Even she knows how to hold the 64 controller.
I don't. What's the point of the third prong then if you're not supposed to use it?
The third prong is for wrestling games.
Because of the D-pad?
Yes, you hold it like that, and then you only go to the stick for your special move.
Yeah,
oh gosh!
I remember they said it was supposed to be specific.
Go grab
get
the controller. We're gonna settle this. OJ, where can everyone find you?
Find me right here on YouTube, but let Sean do his thing here.
What the fuck are you doing, Sean?
What is that? What are you doing?
Can we hold it?
Oh, we need to blur. We need to blur the podcast. This is as bad as when Sean put up that one time.
Oh yeah.
No, Sean, move your fucking hand. Grab that big dick at the bottom. What are you doing?
This is horrible. Why would I do this?
That's what you're supposed to do.
This sucks. This just feels weird. No, this feels right.
I'm with Sean. He's holding it correctly originally.
Rub that joystick. Don't
Why
stop.
would you? What's the point of this if I'm not supposed to hold on to it?
Exactly.
How do you get to the Z button?
On the back?
Yeah, how do you
even
get
hits the Z button?
With this hand. With this hand.
Oh my goodness. Come on, man.
Why would anybody take this man seriously?
Sean, is that just how you? Is that just how you've played N64 your whole life?
Man, playing N64
Is that why you're so bad at it?
I'm excellent at N64.
Who hurt you?
I don't believe you.
This is how I hold it.
Shout out here throwing gang signs playing N64.
You know what you remind me of holding that controller? You remind me of when Jim Ryan held the PS5 controller.
This is how you hold it, and everyone else is wrong, and you go fuck yourselves.
Yeah, you heard it here first.
OJ,
I'm doing hand signs like jutsu, like Naruto. This man doing hand signs. Oh my god, bro! Come on. Bro. Anyway, you can find me here on YouTube. Thanks for coming out, guys. Appreciate it. I got some cool Tears of the Kingdom videos going up, and also Xenoblade Chronicles 3 if you want to get into that. I'll have a video up with Xenoblade franchise and all that stuff. So if you like RPGs, Xenoblade, all that good stuff, Final Fantasy, I cover all that on the channel, and I stream pretty much all the time. So yeah, thanks for the support. Thanks for coming out. Shout out to the pre-show. Yeah.
MVG, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Modern Vintage G and YouTube Modern Vintage Gamer. Check out my video on Monday and have a fantastic week. Thanks, Em.
Oh, okay. Stu says that the 64 D-pad is for one game only. Mischief Makers.
Correct.
That's what. Celia, where can everyone find you? Thanks for joining us.
Of course, thank you for having me. So you can find me on Twitter. I'm at Celia V with 3 E's, and you can also find like work-related stuff. We're at Yacht Club Games and everything. Also, everyone buy Pocket Dungeon. Okay, that's my plug.
There you go. Jeff says Microsoft needs to understand that when you do a streaming service, you're lowering your ceiling on what you can make, but you're guaranteeing your minimum, raising your floor. WWE could sell their big 4 pay-per-views for more than they make, but then they make more overall. WWE also sells a lot of other stuff though, merchandise and everything. So, but then I also want to go to the big Streamlabs donation from EBGR. Says Sean versus Nintendo is my favorite feud of the year. Great show, great guest as always.
They always try to screw me.
Josie, where can everyone find you?
You can find me at YouTube at Josie Well. I talk a lot about Nintendo. I have a video coming out reviewing Metroid Fusion after playing it for the first time.
Nice.
So that's a good time. Yeah. And on Twitter, also at Josie Well. Thank you guys for having me.
Jordan. He's far away. Where can everyone
Far
find
away. I had to walk a lip. You can find me, Jordan Fringe Gaming. A lot of big stuff coming out. I just put out part 3 of my very long running throughout this year, Ash's complete journey through Pokemon. So I'm covering every season of Pokemon, talking about Ash's journey. So part 3 is out now. It's like an hour and a half long. Yeah, I got a bunch of stuff going on. Check it out. Appreciate it. Glad to be here. It's how many weeks in a row? Who knows? Maybe I'll be here next week. Maybe not.
5 weeks.
Find out.
Take your bets.
Take your bets now.
Max, where can everyone find you?
YouTube.com/Dreamcast guy. This week I did a freaking in-depth review of the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster, the Horizon DLC, and also Dead Island. Didn't sleep very much, but all those videos blew up. So I just wanted to thank people because a lot of times people in the comment section say, I found you because of the Spawncast. So thank you everybody for being cool.
I do want to close out with a comment from actually Evan, where can everyone find you?
Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube at Kimmerix Project. If you're into strategy games, I'm mostly focusing on Games Workshop games. Right now we're looking at Kill Team, but when 10th edition drops this summer, we'll take a look at that. It's coming along. Nice little community, people talking. So if you're into that, check it out.
Okay. I'm going to close out here with a message from Mr. Davis, who says, what's up, Yao? What's up, OJ? I got a crush on my Tears Already Kingdom update. This should change out the combat. Did you pick someone up here in the cab at the combat with Fate this year? Make my favor.
Uh-huh.
Cool.
Yeah.
Damn right.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely,
That's what I
Mr.
was
Davis.
I think I'm having a stroke.
Sounds like.
What was it about the car door? What happened?
I have no idea what
So
that
did you
means.
pick someone up here in the cab at the combat with the Fate this year? Make my favor.
Make his favor.
Hey, shout out to Mr. Davis. Always appreciate the messages. Thanks everyone for joining us tonight on the podcast. We'll be back next Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time, and we'll see you guys then.
Or not.
Think for yourself.
Challenge crushing.